about how to use command in a fashion that's going to support your relationships with your clients. And we'll definitely have that conversation today. We'll be here for maybe about an hour and a half or so discussing that. And I want you guys to ask questions. We're small, we can definitely engage in this conversation on a personal level. What do you want to know? How do you handle this part of it? I don't have to follow the slides 100%. I want to make this about what you guys need and what your questions are. Sound fair?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so let's look at our goals for today. So we want to, talking about the mindset. You guys do that a lot in Ignite, don't you? You spend a lot of time on mindset?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me some of the things that you guys have discussed. Things that you've come away with that are going, oh wow, that makes sense.
Well, it's just pretty much getting out there, getting people curious about it, and just talking to us.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Yeah.
Pretty much revolve everything around that.
Yeah. Have you taken a lot of the Ignite classes?
I've only taken one.
You've taken one before? Okay. Anything that popped out for you as far as mindset, attitude?
The gentleman that was teaching us, he was talking about, like, he had one couple, and from that one couple, developed a friendship with them and selling them a house and led to coming to these parties and doing this and this. It just showed a big old spider web of, from that one couple, 22 transactions just by knowing that one couple.
Yep, exactly.
So just, keeping relationships.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we'll dig into that. Perfect. All right. So the mindset. I think one of the things with the mindset too that I really appreciate is being able to work with your database in a fashion that they feel important, that they know that you're not just calling them to go, hey, it's Amy. Do you know anybody that wants to buy a house? When are you guys going to move? But coming from the mindset of, I'm here as a resource. I'm here to help you. I'm here to be not necessarily your friend, because not everybody's going to be your friend, but our relationship goes beyond real estate, like the party, right? That knowing that yes, these people support you financially through their own business and through their referrals, but also they're valuable as human beings, and not to just call them up for real estate purposes, but to engage in them. And so I think that's probably one of the key differences between like a Turnham and Burnham kind of an agent, if that's lack for a better expression. I've known agents that can do, call expireds off the evening and go, oh my gosh, expired, 5 hours a day. But they never follow up with their clients after the close, and they have to start over every single day. That's not what we want to do here. We've got a data bank or a database that can continue to support our business that we already have those relationships with. We can supplement it with those other activities and the other lead generating activities, but to really nurture the database in a fashion that's going to foster business for you and deepen those relationships with those people to continue to foster more business, right?
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard this with others, because many of us do work our database very diligently. So, all right. So through that, we definitely want to devise a plan on how to work the database. There are a couple of different philosophies. We'll go through one of them today. And then as we finish up, we're going to go through kind of our ahas. What did we learn? What does make sense to me? What can I implement? And I might even give you guys some homework on that. I don't know if others have given you homework, but I've got some ideas, and we can definitely discuss that.
Sure.
Yes, yes. So, okay, so we talked about mindset. What do you guys see? Are you joining us?
Yes, I am.
Thank you so much. What is your name?
I'm Joel.
Joel. Hello, I'm Amy.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Welcome. I don't know if I'm being recorded. I don't think you can.
Oh, okay.
I don't see. Yeah, I don't see that it's on. So I would have had you move to the side if you were, but I think you're good. No.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Otherwise, you're going to be seeing my head off.
They don't care. They don't need to see me. Okay. So let's talk about leads versus contacts. Tell me if anybody would like to volunteer. What's the difference between a lead and a contact?
Contact someone you know, and a lead is someone that potentially gets you more business.
Exactly. So give me an example of how you would meet a lead. Like, where would the lead come in?
Maybe somebody either meet in public or somebody clicked on maybe a social media post.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
They
All
are
right.
interested.
Yeah, exactly. And then a contact would be, like you said, somebody that you know personally. So the goal is to convert your leads into contacts. So a couple of ways that we can do that, and I'd be happy to share mine, but I definitely want this to be interactive. I want to hear from you guys what you think that's gonna look like, and then I'll share some of the experiences that I've had and the versions of that. How would you do that? So let's say you're at an open house and somebody walks in and they go, wow, I really want to buy a 3-bedroom 2-bath on La Mesa. And I say that because I just did an open house recently, but I don't know what's out there. So what do you do with that? And I don't need scripts or anything, but what would you do to create, say John Smith walks in and says that. How would you capture John Smith as a lead, and what would you need to do to create a contact out of him?
Well, ask him if he wants more information than that.
Exactly.
Provide that with it.
Yeah, for sure. So some of the things that we need to do, and I don't know if you guys have been to any of the, if your coaches provide this, which I'm sure they do, but when you meet John Smith at the open house, hi Dana. When you meet John Smith at the open house, obviously if you're super busy, you're not gonna have it, and you'll learn this from your coaches, but engaging in the conversation to let John know that you are an agent that can provide value to him, not just, hey, yeah, give me your number and I'll give you a call when I find something on the MLS, but engaging him in a conversation that creates a secondary opportunity, whether it be, this is what I can provide to you, and, would that be helpful, and how can I get that information to you, and capturing his contact information and getting his permission to put him in your database with his phone number and with his email address, and collecting the basics that you need so that you can follow up and continue the conversations with him in a fashion that will actually convert him into a contact, somebody that you know, and you call up and say, hey John, it's Amy Blume over at Keller Williams. He'll go, oh, hi Amy, thanks for calling, as opposed to, what? How did I meet you, right? So those are the conversations we need to have with them. You meet him at the open house, or you meet him on a phone call, and you get his permission to follow up. And that right there is the conversion. Once you have him in your database, because every time you get a lead, whether it's from a sign call or an ad you ran or an open house, or you've been circle dialing, are you guys familiar with that? Circle dialing or cold calling? Cold calling.
Yeah.
So circle dialing is a phrase that we use when we say, okay, somebody in the office has a new listing and you want to possibly hold an open house for them. You are able to prospect around that open house, and it's encouraged. If you're going to host the open house, if you have the opportunity, maybe door knock around the open house to invite the neighbors. Who do you know that might be interested in looking at the home that we can invite? Why don't you come by and take a look at the home? Hey, what are your plans? Have you ever thought about selling your home? If you were, where would you go to? And again, the scripts you'll get from your coaches, they'll guide you on that. But circle prospecting is when you just pick a property that you're advertising or that you maybe just sold, and you're looking for more business in the area. We call that circle prospecting. Take the property and you call around it. Same as cold calling. Cold calling around a neighborhood, cold calling expireds or for sale by owners, a specific, maybe you have a condo buyer, you could cold call in that neighborhood, in that particular complex for somebody that might want to sell. So taking those conversations, putting them into your command database, and creating a system on how to follow up with them so that you continue to nurture that relationship. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Let's see. There we go. We want to focus on building relationships and take our market share. Are we there? No, we're not. We're still here. I think I'm seeing different than you guys are seeing. Okay. So we talked about that. You want to drop everybody in your database. You're going to convert them from leads to contacts, and you want to convert them obviously into business or referrals. Got it? Okay. So focus on building the relationships and take market share. That's so positive. Okay. So we talked about this already. Once you meet your new contacts, you either do business with them immediately or you don't. That's where your systems come into place to do future business with them. And how do we do that? So we do need to create an opportunity for the lead follow-up. There's a lot of repetitiveness in this, guys, and I'm really sorry if I'm going through through. But I think, you know, one of the things that we want to do is figure out how are we going to do our lead follow-up so that we can convert them into a transaction. And have you guys sat down with your coaches yet? Are you licensed yet, Joel?
Yes, I am.
Who's your coach?
Carl.
So the three of you are with Carl, okay.
Yes.
Has Carl gone through the process with you as far as setting up smart plans and things like that, coming up with the system on your lead follow-up?
Yes, but that was at the very beginning, and so it's like when all that information flooded with emails and all of that,
Everything.
so it's like,
Yeah.
So yeah, that was
So it was
Same for you.
a small blur.
Okay, okay, great. All right, so we'll definitely dig into smart plans.
It was a lot of info at first.
It is a lot of info. Okay, so if you have to guess, when you want to convert your contacts to closed business, let's say you meet that guy at the open house, and I'm gonna use that as the example because we usually start open houses, usually one of the first things we do to gather leads, if we're not putting all our friends into our database, which we'll talk about. If you had to guess, how many times do you think you need to reach out to that person before they're ready to make a purchase?
15.
15?
Is it 10?
10 to 15?
I want to say 7.
7? Okay. How often do you think we should reach out to them?
Once a month?
Once a week.
Okay.
Depending how far they are
Okay.
in the purchase.
What do you mean?
Well, like if like, you know, you get a serious buyer that is already kind of like getting to pre-approve, or if there's people that are just looking, or, you know, certain, it depends, like, you know, if
Where
they
they're
have
in
a
the
lease,
process,
and then it's gonna
Okay.
expire in 10 months, you know, kind of 6 months from there, they start
Okay,
getting
perfect.
closer.
Okay,
on
so
the-
once a week to once a month, depending on their time frame. All right. Any ideas for her? No idea? Okay. And yes, once a month if they're several months out, once a week if they're not. So what I would say when you first get a lead from an open house, probably reaching out to them just about every day for the first 4 or 5 days. But here's why. And this is what I do. I pick up a lead at the open house. What I do at my open houses is I don't print flyers for the open houses because I know that flyer, and I'll tell you, I've got a system for this. I don't print flyers for 2 reasons. Number one, usually when I list a house, I'll list it on Thursday or Friday. My photos come to me Thursday, I'll put it on the market Thursday or Friday. My first showings will be at the open house. My flyers won't be ready, number one. And I do that on purpose because when a buyer comes into the open house, they look at it and they toss it on the ground. If they don't want to give me their contact information, how am I going to follow up with them if they are truly a buyer? Here's what I do. I create, and this is on command. Do you use command?
Yes, I
Great. On command, under this consumer link, you can create what's called a landing page. It is a specific URL that you create for any of your listings or any of your open houses. I never, ever, ever delete the URL. I never turn it off. I let it go public. It's on there if anybody wants to keep the URL for future reference. I save the URL on my phone, and when somebody comes into my open house, they ask me for flyers, and you know what? I haven't had a chance to print the flyers. My photos just came in on Thursday, and it usually takes my printer about 3 days to get them to me, and here we are on the weekend. However, I do have a digital copy of it. Would it be okay if I text it to you? I just captured their phone number. So I pull up the URL, I open up my text, and I say, what is your name? If I don't already know it. So I will send them that text, but in the message that I send them, it says, hi Joel, great to meet you at 8030 Cinnabar Drive in La Mesa. Let me know if you have any more questions. Then I open up the text that I just sent them and I show them what I sent. Because they've got their phone in their pocket or she's got it in her purse. I will show them what I've sent them and I'll say, okay, here's what I just sent you so you guys can check this out later. The very first thing on the landing page is a sign-in sheet. So rather than my having a paper sign-in sheet at the open house, because they don't always give you the right phone number, right? Or they give you a fake email, I will tell them, if you want to register, it only goes to my website and to me, you're fine, so I'm not going to sell your information. But if you want to register on this, then I can get you more information about the neighborhood. Then I scroll down and I go, then you're going to get the property flyer, you've got all your photos, and I scroll some more. And I created this landing page, right? And I say, you know, here's the neighborhood stats, what's going on in the market, and here's the other properties that are active on the property, or active in the neighborhood. So there's your flyer. Let me know if I can help you. I mean, that's it. People actually register from the text that I gave them and say, they always have to write a little note, right? Great meeting you, the house isn't for me, but I'd love to learn more about the neighborhood. I do also talk to them about other opportunities that aren't listed yet, like, oh, we may have some coming soon I can share with you, or off market. But I don't give them a paper flyer, because once they have that information, there's no need for me anymore. Because they've got that right there. So that's how I capture those leads for my open house. I always have their phone now in my phone book, or in my text thread, because I just messaged them, and I always put their name when I'm texting, so I don't forget who they are. Hi Joel, nice to meet you and Gia at the open house, da 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 da. So that way I'll remember who they are. I may not remember the details of them after the open house. Here's number 2 in one day. I text them at the end of the day and say, it was great to meet you today. Sorry we didn't have more time to talk. It was a little busy. Just wanted you to know that the seller might be reviewing offers as early as Tuesday. Would love to get your feedback and find out if you have any interest on moving forward. There's my second message in one day, right? If I don't hear back from them, and if I have their email address, because I will ask if they expressed an interest, hey, let's keep in touch with your email. I will email them on the second day and say, hey, just want to follow up, not sure if you got my text message, the seller on the property that we met, da 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 da, and they have the same conversation. If I don't hear back, by the end of the day, I'm gonna call them on the phone. Hey Joel, it's Amy Blume, we met over at Cinnabar over the weekend. Hey, I just want to make sure you got my messages. Didn't want you to miss out on the opportunity. I mean, I keep going. So in 2 days, they're getting 4 conversations with me, whether they pick up or not. I'll wait a day, I'll do it again. Hey, not sure if you got my messages, the seller's gonna be reviewing offers, didn't want you to miss out if you guys were interested. If this is the house for you, I would love to share some of the off markets in the neighborhood. Whether I have any or not, I'm gonna have that conversation, because if I don't have any, I'm gonna go find some. Maybe I'll go back to look at old expires to see what they never sold. Maybe this is an opportunity. Maybe I circle prospected around the neighborhood before my open house. I met 3 people, I can go knock on their door, whatever it takes, right? So I'm gonna do day 1, day 2, skip a day, and you'll get different, you do you, but this is kind of the general. On the 4th day, I'm doing another phone call or a text. On the 5th day, so I'm using 3 modes of communication: text, email, phone, text, email, phone. When I get them on Sunday night, because I usually do my opens on Sundays, if I have time Sunday night, I'll do it, otherwise I'll do it Monday morning before I start my lead gen. I will put them into command, and I will put all the information that I can on them, and then I'm gonna create a smart plan immediately, or I'm gonna put them into a smart plan. My smart plan is super simple and dumbed down. My smart plan is called 3-day follow-up. And every 3 days after that, they're getting a call from me, or a text from me, or an email from me. It literally says 3-day follow-up. The first notification I get says call. 3 days later, it's gonna say text. 3 days later, it's gonna say email. If I don't have their email, I'm gonna call or text again. I will do this for probably about 2 weeks. I did this with a lead that I met in November, I think it was. It was maybe a week or 2 before Thanksgiving. I continued this lead follow-up with her for about a month. Then after that, I drop it back to about every other week. Then I drop it back to once a month. Then I just don't have a smart plan for them, and they just go on my regular call my database cycle, and I'll share that with you in a few minutes. So this woman that I met in November, crickets. I heard nothing from her since November. She messaged me 2 weeks ago. I just walked into an open house. I'm so excited. I have to have it. I don't have my loan finalized yet. We need to talk.
Wow.
And that's how it works. You just, whether they call you back or not, just keep following up, I don't know if I'm recording.
You are.
Oh, I am.
I'm
Okay,
watching.
because I saw the red button.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. I've got the screen in my room,
Okay,
so.
you can see me?
Yeah, I can see you all.
Hi, come on, you're good. Sit down. We're talking smart plans and open houses, even though this is database.
Amy, how's the temperature? Are you all comfortable?
I'm
Are you
comfortable.
Warmer, colder?
But I've got a
Are you all
jacket.
comfortable?
You guys
I'm
okay?
getting hot.
You are?
Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit
A
hot?
little warm.
I
And
want-
you
A little
have
warm?
jackets if they need it.
I'm always cold,
Yeah.
so but I want to make sure everyone's comfortable.
Yeah. So it could be 3 months later. It could be 15 years later. It doesn't matter. Just keep dripping them, keep dripping them, keep dripping them. And I used to. I got scolded by my coach here in the office recently. I used to delete them after 6 months. I'm like, man, I don't know them. I don't know what to say. I'm just gonna delete because I don't feel like. And honestly, once in a while, I'll call them up and I'll go. I just did this a week or so ago. I would go, hey Joel, it's Amy Blume over at Keller Williams. Hey, we haven't talked in a while. You know what? I just want to check in one more time. I honestly don't want to be a pest, and I'm sorry if I have been, but I also don't want to drop the ball. If buying a home is still important for you, please let me know, because I wanna make sure that you have what you need to move forward. So I'll just say, am I being a pest? Let me know and I'll stop, but I don't wanna drop the ball. I will honestly say that. Once in a while I'll get a message back, I still call them again. Yes.
Do you send it, any of those potential buyers any active listings on a
It
constant?
Depends on who they are. I
Okay.
try not to, if it's a buyer lead that doesn't have a loan approval or says, yeah, we haven't really talked to a lender yet, I don't. Only because if I send them something for $750 and they only qualify for $500 and they get really excited,
Okay.
like, it's a balance. And your coach might say, do it anyways. What I just put into place is a program called HomeBot. If you're familiar with Command, it has the neighborhood nurture. The neighborhood nurture only provides, and I use that for my owners of properties, whether they've been my client or I just know them and they own a home. The neighborhood nurture only provides active and pending, I think only active listings actually, but only if they're active at the time that email goes out. If everything's gone into pending or sold, let's say when the market was moving in 2 days, right? They were obsolete. The neighborhood nurture once a month didn't mean anything because it came on the market Monday and you sent them an email Wednesday, it was already pending, right? Like half the time I was doing it during the COVID lockdown, I would get these notifications on my activities and my client and my contacts. The email didn't go because there was nothing to send them. So it's like I was counting on this contact, this touch that wasn't getting out there because there was nothing to send them on the neighborhood nurture. So I'm using another program that actually identifies their property and sends them their value, their equity in their home, what their rental value would be, what their sales value would be, how much equity they would acquire if they sold it, and every month it updates based on the current market, averages in their neighborhood or whatever.
Does that, I'm familiar with HomeBot,
Yeah.
because we use that.
Okay, yeah, you guys probably use it as a lender,
Yeah.
lender.
But is it connected with, can you connect it with Command?
I don't know.
Not familiar with
I don't
Command.
know, I did it, my assistant did it personally, like he uploaded everybody, not individually, but through that.
Mhm.
I don't know if Command is connected to it. I know that Command is coming up with some additional opportunities beyond the neighborhood nurture, but they haven't rolled out yet. We learned about it at family reunion, but they didn't dig too deep into it, because it's fairly new, I don't know if it's new, but it's not ready to roll out, so. So to answer your question about giving them leads or giving them listings, I would say it really depends on the conversation you have with them. It really does. What I will do though is if there are properties within the community, like this one from Allied Gardens, when I do see new properties, if I happen to be on the MLS, if I do see new properties around the open house that I did, I will call them up and say, hey, not sure if you had a chance to see this one, it's showing start next week, let me know if you want to take a look. Then if they call me back for that, I can send them over to my lender if they haven't been approved yet. So we're talking about lead follow-up for open houses right now, even though this isn't an open house class. So that's, yes, you can send them listings if that's one way for you to keep in touch. I do that with potential listings though. When I have a seller that I've spoken with and they're just kind of, looking to sell in a year or two, but they're not quite ready, anytime a property comes up in their neighborhood, I call them and send it to them because I want that listing. For me, listings are a heavier part of my business. It's a heavier part of my focus. So I want to capture, if I see that house get listed with somebody else because I didn't keep in touch to keep them up to speed on the market, I get pissed at myself. So if I see a new listing in their vicinity, I will come in and say, hey, just want to give you an update on the market, such and such property just came up for sale, here's the price. They have the recent upgrades that we talked about your house, that would be your difference in the comparison. I'll just tell them over the phone in a voice message. I don't care if I talk to them, but just to give them that information. Then when I see it go into escrow, hey, just want to know that the house on 123 Main Street just went into pending. I'm so excited. Value went up. I'm excited to share with you what your home's going to be worth now. So that part, Joel, I will do. Okay. I'm going to skip a lot of these that I don't think are really going to be pertinent for us to do. All right, so converting contacts. So much writings. All right, so one thing that I like on here is number 2, remaining top of mind. Has nothing to do with the mindset, which seems to be a big part of this session, but being top of mind. We talked about how often we want to keep in touch with our people, and you guys, the smart plan that I use for my open house leads, everybody's different. And even the people that are in the database. database that I'm using the smart plan for, they're all different. I might get to some that I go, ooh, it's been 3 days and I need to call them again. No, I'm not gonna do it. For whatever their situation is. You know, maybe I know they did already speak with the lender and I messaged them on Monday to check in how the loan process is going, and they say, oh, I'm waiting for my employer to get back my, you know, letter of whatever they need from their employer. I'm not gonna call them on Tuesday and ask them again, because they already talked to their employer, they'll let me know. So maybe I'll skip one and then reach out to them on the 6th day type of a thing. So use your discretion based on the conversations you have. It's not a set in stone. Don't kill yourself if you don't hit every single step of the process. But in terms of remaining top of mind, like I said, you could go 3 months with no contact whatsoever as long as you continue to touch them. Here's a great example, and Jacqueline had said this to me. I was working with her a couple of months ago, I think it was like October, November, coming up with smart plans for the different avenues of my lead generation that I'm using. And I'm like, do I really want to email these people? Like, part of my smart plan and touch through my database is emails. I do the neighborhood nurture, I do a monthly newsletter, we do like personal video, not personal video, but videos. I work with my husband, so he says a lot, Gary. So Gary and I will do like these fun crazy videos for Valentine's Day or for St. Patrick's Day or, you know, April Fool's, whatever, and we send those out via email probably about every other month. And so I said to Jacqueline, you know, I don't know that email is really a great way to communicate, because half the time, I mean, 90% of the people don't even open the email. And this was her example that she gave to me. When you get an email from Nordstrom or Kohl's or Target or the car dealership or whatever it is that you're on, you know, when you go in to get the discount the first time you go in, or you get whatever, and you've got 85 different companies that you're getting their emails from. I'm on Grocery Outlet, you guys. Like, I get emails from Grocery Outlet like 3 days a week. What she said is, when you're not in the market right now to go buy that new suit or that new dress at Nordstrom, but when you see their emails come through every week or every month and you go, I need to buy a suit. Oh, that's right, I saw that coupon from Kohl's, or I saw that, you know, sale coming up at Nordstrom. You've seen it, you never opened it, but you see it enough that when you think of going to buy that new dress or suit, where do you go? You scroll through all your emails and go, where's that coupon, right? It should be the same thing for us when we're emailing the people in our database. God, I really want to go look at houses this weekend, but I don't know what's available. Where's that agent's information again? We're hoping that that's what they're going to do, right? If we're in touch with them often enough without being obnoxious, that's the goal of keeping in touch with your database. That's the goal of keeping in touch with your leads. Whether they ever open your email or not, they know you're there. Even if it just says your name, you know, market stats for the week, or, you know, real estate newsletter, or real estate tip, or, you know, whatever you're sending them. Just, they'll see it. Trust me. It shocks me too. I mean, it still shocks me when somebody goes, yeah, I've been getting your newsletter for 3 years, and I'm sorry I haven't called you back. You sold me my house. Do you remember me? I'm like, yes, I remember you. I mean, we do talk more than that, but. So devising the plan. This is something that I learned, specifically this format, that I learned when I came to KW. I had been with another brokerage, and like I said, 95% of my business is through my database, but I never had a system on how to do it. I just, if I thought of it, I would call them. I probably had everybody on a sheet of paper. I don't know. I don't even know how I managed my database before. I must have had some, but until I got into what KW provided and really got a true platform to manage it, I just kind of did it. And I don't know if it was just luck of the draw, if it was just like I stumbled into it that I was able to do business, but having a specific plan of how often am I going to reach these people beyond the leads that you pick up at the open house or from your cold calling or whatever other avenues you search, how am I going to keep in touch? And the 36 touch, do you guys have the red book, the MREA, Millionaire Real Estate book? It's in there if you haven't gotten to it yet. I actually do a 52 touch, which is once a week. It's not, they don't get something from me every week, but I do a 52 touch because of the level that I want my business to do, and because my database is I think it's very small for as long as I've been in business. I probably have about 600 people in my database. And after 30 years, that doesn't sound like a lot, but I've narrowed it down to having the personal relationships. I've narrowed down, other than the leads that I pick up from open houses until they go, oh, I already bought, or I moved to Nebraska, I'm not buying anymore. You know, I'll keep them in there until that happens. So I created a couple of years ago a very specific 36 or 52 touch. How many emails am I going to send them every year? How many times am I going to call them? How many personal note cards are they going to get? You guys should be writing this down. So what are some other ways that we would keep in touch with our database? I mentioned phone calls, I mentioned emails, and I mentioned personal notes. What are some other ways we can be in touch with them? Events, perfect.
Social media.
Social media, okay. And we're gonna dig into what each of these looks like. Anything else? Text, messages, she said quietly. Okay, oh, they're on here. Direct mail, outside of personal notes. Direct mail being like postcards or typed out letters, right? Okay, one more that I do is something called pop buys. Pop buys, have you heard of that?
No.
It's a gift. Like this one says here under 4 touches. Personal, promotional direct mail, magnet, calendar, market report. Magnet maybe, so a pop maybe. A pop buy is a very inexpensive item. Doesn't have to have your name and logo on it. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. Just to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. It can be in November, right after Thanksgiving, popping by with a set of holiday gift tags. And the note just says, as we're wrapping up the year, gift tags, just wanted to let you know that I'm thinking about you, or wanted to let you know that I appreciate your support of my business, and you have your name, whatever. In the summer, I did s'mores kits, and it was a sleeve of graham crackers, a packet of the chocolate, and then a baggie of marshmallows. Thank you. Like, when was the last time I had a s'mores? And on it, I wrapped it all up together. Yes, the chocolate will melt if you're not careful.
No, I was asking you, you sent that to all 600?
No. So a Popeye with the Popeyes, if you have a database, say you have a database of, what's the goal? 100 and
Not
201. 201. So if you have a database of 201, you should know who your top A+ clients and referral partners, so to say, like who are your raving fans, right? It could be your most recent past clients, it could be somebody that's referred business to you, it could be a hot lead, like a seller that's ready to list an interview, or a buyer who you're actively working with. So when I do my pop buys, I used to schedule them pre-COVID. I used to schedule them throughout my week. If I knew I was going to be showing property in Alpine, I would hit up all my A+ people in Alpine, my A's and my A+, and I categorize my people by how active they are with my business, right? So if I know I'm going to be in Alpine, I'll pick my A+ clients between my house and Alpine, or the office and Alpine. So when I'm done with my showings, because we don't put buyers on our cars anymore, when I meet the client out there, I will then go to all of my people in Alpine and deliver these things. So with the s'mores pack, I wrapped them up in a nice little ribbon, and the little tagline, as I called it, said, "I'm never too busy for some more of your referrals." So you find a way to clip it in, right? Or Valentine's Day, we would put a little mug with candy. I mean, whatever, it doesn't matter. I've given away like bottles of sparkling cider because I don't know who drinks and who doesn't. I've done movie night popcorn thingies with, you know, a schedule of new movies coming out on Netflix if they stream that, you know, stuff like that. What I do now, and I've done it other than the year that we couldn't touch anything during COVID, I've limited my pop buys to birthdays. So every client that I've ever done a transaction with, whether it was 25 years ago or last week, every client gets one, and everybody that's ever sent me a referral. And again, if the referral was 25 years ago, they're still getting one. The birthday bag cost me about $3. I get it, maybe a little bit more. I get it at the dollar store. I buy a stack at the beginning, at the end of every month, I'll buy, like I just bought March's. I'm gonna buy all of March's Popeye supplies the last week of February. It's a gift bag. They're 2 for $1.25. It includes a banner, the blowers, you know, the little swirly blower thingies, or the horn blowers, a candle, like a little packet of cute little candles, balloons, And I recently started doing homemade jumbo chocolate chip cookies that I make. And I will make them when I fill my last bag. I'm like, all right, Gary, we're making cookies tonight, and I will bake a batch of cookies, and I put them in the freezer, and I give them 4 cookies. If it's a family of 5, I'll give them 6. If it's a family of 8, I'll give them 10, right? But I give enough cookies for the couple or the family, and I just put it in a cute little bag, and I put tissue and a birthday card. And at the first time I do it for them, I put a little hand note in the birthday card, obviously happy birthday, and I sign our names. And I sign Gary's name, so whichever one of you does anything like that, I signs mine. I'm like, Gary, here, sign 18 cards. And I probably do, like, I had 2 yesterday, I have 2, and I date it out on my, I literally put it in my calendar, you guys. Like, I know that their birthday's on March 4th. I'm gonna put on my calendar Popeye, El Cajon, Santee on March 2nd. So I try to clump them within like a 3-day period. There could be some weeks where I'm out 4 days a week. So I'm gonna try to clump them all on Monday. I try to get them in if their birthday falls on the weekend. I want them to have it by Friday because they might have friends or family over and they'll have a couple little decorations put out. But in the birthday card, I say, the birthday fairy always decorates our home for our family birthdays. We wanted to share a little bit of the birthday fairy with you, which is the truth. We decorate for each other. We've been doing it since Gary and I moved in together, right? And so I do that, and then I just write enjoy. And on the regular card, we just write, happy birthday, wishing you the best, whatever, like, a generic note. So most of our clients get it. There's obviously occasions where I don't get out, like, 2 weeks ago I was supposed to do one, and I was at family reunion, and I forgot to do it before I left, So they're not, everybody gets one, but that's my Popeye. And now it's gotten to the point, I've been doing them for the birthdays for probably 7 or 8 years. I have 3 clients that will call me up and go, hey, I had one client call me up last week, she goes, I know you're gonna stop by with a birthday bag, but I just want you to know we're leaving tomorrow for a cruise.
What?
Seriously. Seriously. So I drove over there that night and said, if you wanna decorate your room, happy birthday. So she could decorate the room on her cruise.
Oh.
So most of the time when I'm gonna drop off the birthday bags, I will text them and say, hey, I'm in your neighborhood dropping off a package for a client. I always make sure that I reference that I'm in there for a real estate deal. Like, I might not be, I might really just be going to see them, right? But I always message them and I always pull real estate into the conversation. Hey, I'm dropping off some escrow documents for a client. Just wanted to check, would love to stop by and say hello for 2 minutes. A lot of them know why I'm doing that. And if they're home or if they're in town, I'll drop it off at their front door. I'll take a picture to say, hey, stop by, sorry I missed you, have a wonderful birthday. They always get a picture, either if Gary delivers them, he doesn't like to do his own photo, so he'll do just the bag at the front door. If they message me back and say, oh my God, I'm out of town, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, I wanted to wish you a happy birthday anyways, hope you have fun, and then I'll just mail the birthday card. So it'll be there when I get home. So that's my version of the Popeye.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What are the results of it,
So the results are being top of mind. And that's what this whole, because you missed the first couple minutes. So the purpose of the relationships in your database is to make sure that you are top of mind. So these people in my database are, 95% of them are people that I've done a transaction with, have referred business to me, or know me personally. So I could probably tell you, and I'm adding I do have my leads in the database, but I can tell you outside of the leads that haven't transacted or haven't become personal, I could probably tell you their kids' names, their pets' names, where they work. I mean, I am very intimate with the people in my database. I don't have a list of 10,000 people. I don't have a list of 2,000 people. My goal is not to have 2,000 people in my database. My goal is to manage the database and nurture it. And so that's, all of this,
And then you feel sure they're going to still giving you more.
And they don't always. They don't always. But if I can be in front of them and show them that I'm not just here to say, hey, do you want to sell a house? Yeah. But the results are hard to track, other than I look at where my business comes from every year. And at the end of the year, I evaluate how many referrals did I get, what percentage of my business was referrals, what percentage was sign calls, what percentage was internet leads, what percentage was, and internet leads being you're listed on the MLS and it syndicates, what percentage was open house leads. So I break that down every year. And as you guys get rolling into the business, you're going to be asked to do that, so you know what to do next year. Like if I'm doing open houses and I'm not getting any transactions out of them, either I'm doing something wrong or open houses don't work. Probably because I'm doing something wrong, because open houses work. So I look at my business every year that way, as we do. Ashley, our OP, have you guys all met Ashley? Do you know Ashley? Ashley hosts a business planning clinic, usually in October or November, usually October, I think. 100% recommend you go. It is probably the most beneficial class I have ever taken in this office. It helps you evaluate what you did last year. Not good, bad, or indifferent, just what did you do last year, what worked, what didn't work, and why, and what are you gonna do next year? It helps you evaluate your goals, where you wanna go, and how you're gonna get there. Your budget, your business, your personal goals, everything, it's phenomenal. There's so much content, that's so much to work on, that put it on your calendar when you see it. And the great news is that she does it for our office for free, because we're her office, and she charges other brokerages to do it. Most of the classes offered through the company, they do charge, but Ashley brings her stuff to us for free. So yeah. So can I say that every time I do a birthday bag, I can identify what it is? No. The events that I do, because we host client parties a lot, can I say that I specifically get business out of that one event? If I have a one-on-one conversation with somebody that says, oh my God, I'm so glad you had me over, I need to sell my house, but I've nurtured the relationship to that point before then, because they've been on my database for 1, 3, 5, 10, 20 years. So it's that cumulative conversation, right? So that's what Popeyes are, going back to how do we do our 36 touch. This sample here that shows you 4 touches that are telephone calls, 26 touches that are bi-weekly or what have you, in terms of like emails or whatever it is. This is a very good general guide to get started on. And as you guys are developing your database, it'll be easier for you to implement these things. When I developed my database, I probably started with, 300 and something people that I actually had all their contact information to put in. It was overwhelming. I was like, where do I start? Who do I go to? And I didn't have the system on how to do it. I do now. With the phone calls, 4 times a year, I do it every quarter. I know that on January 2nd until March 31st, my goal is to call everybody in my database. I don't. I'm telling you right now, I don't. I do touch them at least once that quarter in some fashion, whether it's a phone message, a voice-to-voice call, or maybe a text. I do have some people on there that I know will never transact with me personally. Say my clients lived in San Diego for 28 years and they moved to Oklahoma. I don't necessarily call them every day because they're not gonna do personal business with me. Will they refer somebody that they know in San Diego? Probably, as long as I continue to keep in touch. So they'll get a phone call once in a while, but they'll absolutely hear from me at least once a quarter via text or phone.
What do you say to them?
Hi, how are you? How's Brandon? How are they?
You
just talk, they're your friends. So, and here's what I can tell you. I gotta say, as awful as COVID was for so many people, for me, because my family was healthy and I did not have any issues in my personal surroundings, COVID gave me the opportunity to reach out to my database, and so many people did this. We couldn't sit down and have coffee, but what I could do is call them up and go, oh my gosh, how are you? How's your family? Is everybody okay? Is there anything you need? Are you guys able to work? Can you manage your mortgage payment? What are you doing? Here's how I can help. Have you called your loan servicer? Have you done this? Like, those were true value calls. Like, that really set me up for the calls that I make now are like, hey, how's it going? Did you go to that concert you talked about? How is Hawaii? I know you guys were gonna go over the summer. Stalk your people on Facebook, you guys. I called one person about 4 years ago. I think, was it even during COVID? It wasn't during COVID, it was before COVID. I called her up, and I see her often. And I called her up, I'm like, hey, Lori, it's Amy, how's it going? She's bawling her eyes out. Her dog died yesterday, and she posted it on Facebook 25 times.
Oh.
I missed that one. And I'm like, la, 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 because that's me. Like, somebody called me Tigger the other day.
Oh, the one.
Yeah, right, Tigger who just keeps bouncing around. We're at family reunion. I'm like, come on, what do you want to do now? It's 11 o'clock, what do you want to do, right? So I'm like, hey, Lori, how's it going? She's sobbing, and I'm like, if I had known that her dog died and just pulled up,
You were like stalking her.
yeah, I seriously pulled up Facebook as we were talking. I'm like, oh my God, Lori, I'm so sorry. What can I do? So what did I do? I sent her a card. So sorry to hear about your baby, da 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 da. So then when my dog died, now I really get it. Now I really get it, right? Because I haven't had that. So just pull up Facebook real quick. find out if they got in a car accident, find out if they got a promotion, find out if their daughter just won some big sports thing, whatever it is. And that could be your reason for calling. I used to cut out the local newspaper in our neighborhood. I had like 80 people there that I know that are on my database in our local, because it was my farm area, and those that I knew personally. I would cut out articles in the newspaper whenever I saw somebody I knew in it, and I would put it in a little note card and say, hey, congratulations on the da-da-da-da-da, and I would send them the article. Granted, they already had 80 of them, right? But I would send it to them so they knew that I knew, right? Simple ways to just be in touch with your people and know them. Simple ways. So back to the phone call, what do you say? Honestly, you just say, hi, how's it going? You know, just want to check in because we haven't talked in a couple of weeks. How's your spouse? Or, you know, how are you guys handling whatever it is that's going on in the COVID world? Whatever it is. I mean, you just have, each time I sit down to call, I know what my conversation is going to be. Like, we're doing an event in 2 weeks. We're hosting a trusts and wills workshop with one of my attorney vendor people. And so my conversation in the next 2 weeks with my people is going to be, hey, did you get our invitation? And I know if they have a trust or will because they're in my database, right? I'm going to pull up the property real quick to see if they did it. Hey, I just wanted to let you know that we're doing this event. Did you get our invitation? Oh, you didn't? Well, you know what? I know you have a trust. Come, because maybe you might need it. You know, she'll give you some guidelines of whether you need to have a revision on it depending on how long it's been. Or maybe there's some questions that it's been such a long time that you're not familiar with that she can help guide you through. Or, you know what? Even if you're already in place, come anyways. I'd love to see you. It doesn't matter, but I know that my event for the next 2 weeks is what I'm going to talk about when I call them. If you don't have an event, sorry, if you don't have an event coming up, but you know of something in the community that's happening, Earth Fair, Earth Day, talk to them about that. If you know that they're into, you know, recycle, repurpose, you know, that type of thing. If you have a new property coming on the market in their community, you're going to be hosting an open house. Stock Facebook, that's probably the easiest, honestly. And if they're not active on social media, then, you know, let them know what your business is doing. Ask them about them. You should know your people. If you're putting your friends and family in your database, you should know them. I don't call my family. I see them all the time. They know I'm interested. They're on my database to get my newsletters, but they don't get phone calls from me. So maybe they should. No, we talk all the time. You know, set up a plan of what you're going to do. Set up a plan of what you want to talk about. If you don't know them well enough to know what to talk about, have an agenda of what it's going to be. First quarter of the year, hey, do you have any? I even did this at the beginning of the year. I sent out a letter. One of the other agents in our office gave me the idea. I sent out a letter that said something to the effect of, you know, if you have any plans for real estate this year, I'd love to be a resource for you. We'd love to be a resource for you. If you want to have a half-an-hour phone consultation free of charge, click this link to set up a time on my calendar. And I set up a Calendly for it. And I had half-an-hour time slots, and I based it around my agenda. I mean, it took a while to get there. But you can just give me a call. I'm happy to have a conversation free of charge, no obligation. And if you already have another agent in mind that you think you'll be using, I have no expectations that you'll hire me. I would love to help people anyways. I mean, that was kind of the gist of it. Like, no obligation, I'm happy to be a resource and a second opinion. So, you know, that kind of thing. So that could be a letter that you send out if you don't know what else to say. You know, there's so many things and it can be mind-boggling. Any ideas that we've been talking that you think you might want to look into and implement? Because I could talk forever about what I do with my database.
No, that's all good.
Anything?
I've been here less than a year, so I really don't have any friends or that many acquaintances. So most of my contacts will be from out of state. So I'll have to figure out how to generate leads, take them to contacts in my command.
And you can still put the people in Texas.
Well,
Texas?
We've got people all over. I've got New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas.
Okay. So here's what you do. Because I keep my people. I've got a friend that lives in Arizona. Her parents still live here, so I guess that's the difference. When you meet people, no matter where they are, and you end up having, everybody talks about real estate, right? What do you do? I'm just like, oh my God, tell me about the market. Right? Tell me
Like
about
right
the market.
away.
And let me tell you what, when I call my people, when I call people on my database and I just say, hey John, how's it going? I haven't talked to you in a while. You know, what are you guys up to? Or do you have any travel plans for the summer? Ask them if they have travel plans for the summer when you call them. Who cares? Doesn't matter what you say. It's June. Hey, do you have anything planned for the summer? You guys going on any vacations? That's a conversation. The conversation always goes to, how's business? How's the real estate market? Oh, I can tell almost every time I call somebody, they will ask me how the real estate market is if they know I'm in real estate. And I say, well, it's great. Why do you ask? Sometimes I don't even say great. I just say, oh, why do you ask? Well, you know, we're kind of thinking that maybe when the kids graduate, we might want to move back to North Carolina. They'll tell you, they'll ask you. If they just say, oh, I'm just curious, you know, I know things, you know, they read the paper. You say, you know what, you know, the market's definitely changing. And you give them whatever you want to give them, a little nugget. And then you say, you know, what are your plans? Do you guys have anything planned for real estate in the next couple of years? How can I help you? Would you like me to do a market analysis on your home so you know what your value is? If you're not using HomeBot or neighborhood nurture, which you should be using neighborhood nurture. And if they say, no, I'm good, follow up with them. The next time you call, because you have those notes in your activities of Command, there's a place on Command where you can write notes about a call, they texted, I emailed, whatever it is, and you write down the gist of the conversation. So the next time you find them in your database, look through those activities. Oh yeah, the last time we talked in March, they said that they might sell when my daughter graduates from high school. So you call them up. Hey, you know what, we talked about doing a market analysis a couple months ago. The market's changed a little bit. Would you like an update? Or, you know, hey, how are your plans coming with that move to North Carolina? Give it any more thought. How was your trip to Hawaii? Always look back at your notes and what your last conversation was. I even pull up when I know, like some of my clients, like a husband and wife, or sorry, not husband and wife, spouses that purchase a home together, they don't necessarily want to be like, I'm gonna call them and then the spouse has to tell the other spouse. No, I wanna reach them both. I will text them both in a group thread. But you ask them about things that they've done.
In Command, just out of curiosity, are you able to link the husband and wife
You
together?
can,
or the
yes.
spouses together?
Yeah, so you put one contact in first, so I would put Amy Blume, and I put all the information about Amy Blume. I've got the address, the phone number, the email, and the social sites, and da-da-da-da-da, and there's a place on there to add relationship. And you can add husband or wife or spouse or mother or daughter or cousin or whatever. Like, I think pretty much any familial relationship is noted on there. Have you guys seen that? I usually just do spouses and mother-child, like parent-child, pretty much. I don't put nieces and cousins or any of that, unless one referred the other. Like I had a client that referred her cousin. So I'll do that because they don't have the same last name. So I'll remember, oh wait, which one is the one that Linda sent me, that type of thing. But spouses can connect, so when you're creating, say you're gonna do a mailer and you wanna print out labels, Command will automatically put them together. Like I do holiday cards at the end of the year. And so I print all of my people out on a sheet of paper that looks like labels so I can handwrite it. So most of the time the spouses are connected. If you already have them connected in Command, they'll put it together that way. You had a question, Joel?
I did, but I forgot.
Okay. All right, so we talked about phone calls. Bi-weekly emails. So a couple of emails. Honestly, you guys, the easiest email is neighborhood nurture. It goes out every other week. If there's something in their neighborhood that's active on the market, they'll get that email. If there isn't anything active in their community, maybe expand their search. There is an opportunity that's a different part of Command. There is available on Command to, when you put their address in, Command automatically pulls up their neighborhood. So if you put them on a neighborhood nurture, they're gonna get all the listings in that neighborhood. But some neighborhoods are more than just those few streets. And I'll use Del Cerro as an example. So when we lived in Del Cerro, we had the farm there, but our farm consisted of Del Cerro West, Del Cerro East, Del Cerro Highlands, and Del Cerro South. It was about 1,000 homes, maybe 1,200. When somebody lives here, they want to know what the house across College Avenue sold for. They don't want to just know those 400 homes. They want to know the whole strip of Del Cerro Boulevard. They want to know everything in that whole region. So they get east and west, and they get north and south. So they have 4 neighborhoods that are going to be on their neighborhood nurture. You can manually add those. The neighborhood nurture follows the same neighborhoods as Nextdoor. If you guys are familiar with the Nextdoor app,
Yes.
right? So you can pick and choose. If you have somebody that owns a home here and they own a home in North Carolina, you can add North Carolina to their neighborhood nurture. So it's countrywide.
Is it by zip code you put in there?
No, it isn't. So the way I do it is I click on the map and I scroll down to their house and I click on the neighborhoods. It's by name, like I said, like Del Sur West, Del Sur East, Del Sur North, that type of thing. The college area probably has about 15 different neighborhoods. 92115 zip code, which is where I live now. They probably have about 15 different neighborhood nurture communities. But I'm not going to do stream view with Alvarado Estates, which is the multi-million-dollar homes. I'm strictly going to do Alvarado Estates for them because they're a niche market that they don't care what something on the other side wants Zoom sold for. Because I'm at 950 and you're at 3 million. You don't care about my 950, right? So you can pick and choose the little pockets that match into a similar neighborhood as where they are. So, and again, if they're, if they have a property out of state or out of the city that I'm not familiar, I'm only going to give them that particular property, that one that pops up for their particular address. But pay attention to those. Pay attention to your command activities, because if you continually see the email failed to send because there were no properties in that neighborhood or whatever, expand it. And you can use that for people, Joel, going back to your question, for people that come into your open houses. If you did an open house in, say, Pacific Beach, you can add anybody to a neighborhood nurture if you have their email address, and just pick a neighborhood from your open house. Pick everything in North PB, right? And let all of those go to the neighborhood nurture to those clients.
So when you say the neighborhood nurture, what is it going to be sending?
Active listings on the MLS.
Active listing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it links directly to the syndicate property on the MLS.
Probably create. I don't know how it looks. I'll probably create like a dummy profile.
Yeah, and I do. So for
play around
me,
with it.
yeah, so I have myself in there as Amy, my maiden name, right? So it's
Okay.
Amy Cantor, and I have a personal email that gets my junk, Nordstrom's and Kohl's and all that stuff, so it doesn't bog down my business email. I will put my personal email as my dummy test thing.
Can I give you my email so I can see the?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you guys my phone number. If you guys all want to get on my little emails and different things that I do, like we do a newsletter through BombBomb once a month. My assistant creates this beautiful newsletter. We put in like real estate news and home tips, like time to clean the gutters, the rains are coming, that kind of thing. I pull my articles from like NAR and CAR and stuff like that, Realtor.com. I always put a featured property, whether it's one of my own listings or somebody else's, and I create a landing page for it. I say my assistant creates a landing page. And then I'll put maybe a testimonial or something good about our business, like, oh, we were in the top 15 luncheon, we made top 15 for the quarter, whatever. Any accolades that we have, whatever it is. We sold 8 houses, whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. We just put something about us so they can go, oh yeah, they are good at what they do. They do have experience or whatever. And then I always put my social links on it, so if they want to follow me on social media, and I put a bunch of stuff on social media for business and personal so they can see. But again, these people are people that know me and I know them. If I call somebody on my database, unless it's a new lead that I haven't gotten to know, when I call up and say, hey John, it's Amy Blume. Hey Amy, how's Gary? Seriously, that's what they do. It's rare that they don't, so. All right, so emails at least every other week. Any ideas on emails that you guys think you might want to do outside of neighborhood nurture? Anything that comes to mind as we talk? Because I don't want to just talk at you. I want to get ideas from you guys also.
Like fun facts or how the market is right now.
Yeah.
How many new listings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? That kind of stuff is really good too. If you have, like, let's say you live in a certain community, if you're in a condo, or if you live in a community that's very, easy to manage and close to, a lot of people, create a mailer for those people. If door knocking, those are the kinds of things you can do, door knocking or, mail delivery type things, because they say mail campaigns and stuff. Events and get-togethers and parties. I was chatting with an agent, we mastermind together often, and he wanted to host a client party, and he's like, I don't know who to invite. I only have about 50 people in San Diego that I know, right? And it's all family or whatever. He's also very engaged in sports, that none of his participants that he plays sports with are on his database. He's also very engaged in community service organization. I don't know what organization he's in, but I know he's very engaged in that. And I go, those are the people you invite. It doesn't matter if they've ever had a real estate conversation with you. They probably don't even know you're in real estate because you're so quiet about it. But it gives you the opportunity. It doesn't matter who's in the room. If you're hosting an event and you want to create a connection with these people and help them in their real estate needs and hope that they'll refer to you or use you, okay, here's how I did it. I just moved to my neighborhood a year and a half ago. I know everybody on my cul-de-sac. There's 10 houses, right? This little cul-de-sac. I know them all. I think some of them know I'm in real estate, maybe they don't. But when we hosted a party at our house, we invited our database, knowing that there were gonna be 800 cars coming and going, okay, maybe 50, coming and going throughout the night. I knocked on all the doors in my neighborhood and I said, hey, I wanted to invite you guys. Gary and I are hosting a real estate client appreciation party for our business. I let them know I was in real estate. I let them know that I do client appreciation parties. I'd love to invite you guys to come by. It's open house style. We're giving away holiday pies. Please come, whether you can come for 5 minutes or 3 hours. We'd love to have you over. So that was one, telling them I'm in real estate. 2, letting them know that I appreciate their business if they would ever do business with me. And 3, I have a ton of cars in the neighborhood, so I'm so sorry, come get a pie. I didn't say to them that way, but I've only known these people for a year. We've never said, hey, did you just buy your house next door to me? When you're ready to sell, call me. They had an agent. But guess what? Yes, I'm sorry she left the room. I just put into escrow my across the street neighbor's house.
There you go. Wow.
Because when I was there, she goes, I'm so glad you came by. I thought you guys were in real estate. I seem to remember you said that. I need to sell. I've been thinking about it for 2 years. I'm not ready yet, but let's talk after the holidays. I said, that would be great, Debbie. Let's keep in touch for sure. Obviously, we're neighbors, we're gonna keep in touch. But let me start getting you some real estate information so you can kind of get prepared for the market. Is it okay if I email you some of the timely information so you know what to expect when you're ready? Oh my God, that would be great. She gives me her email. What do I send her? Neighborhood nurture. Neighborhood nurture. So by the time we went on the market, she was prepared for the prices. She saw the prices coming down in our neighborhood, because we're in a neighborhood where it did. She saw the prices coming down. She wasn't scared. She was ready for it when we sat down to talk, and we had our house in escrow. I'm going to say that again when she comes back, because she asked for the results.
So neighborhood nurture you're using only for potential buyers?
Everybody's on everybody. If I have an address, they're going on neighborhood nurture. If I don't have an address and they were buyers from an open house, I will put that open house. I would put that address on there.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't host my own open house.
And what sections do you find neighborhood nurture?
When you enter an address, do you have it up?
Yeah.
When you enter an address, it should automatically pop up with a map. Scroll down one of your contacts that has an address and there'll be a map. Don't edit them, just scroll down through there, on the left side.
Okay.
Okay, do you see a map there?
It has to have a.
It has to have an address. I think the address has to be in there to show a map. Pull up somebody that has an address. So for parties or events or get-togethers, I've been doing parties for about 7 or 8 years maybe. The first one I did, I thought, what am I thinking? Nobody's gonna show up. This is stupid. I'm putting all this time and energy, and I'm planning for 50 people and no one's gonna come. And the first one that we did, nobody showed up for half an hour. I was like, this was stupid. We had all this food, and we had all these decorations, and we reserved this big spot. And I would say consistently we've had between 50 and 80 people at our parties. And that's from our database. Our database at the time is about between 500 and 600 at any given time. Like, I delete people, obviously when people pass away, or they move out of the country and they're never coming. I don't know, not that they're never coming back, but there's some people that I don't want to transact with again. I have somebody, unfortunately, last year that I don't want to transact, and they don't want to transact with me either. It's all good. They're not on my database. They're still in there because I do always follow up with, information about the closing and, stuff in case they need it. I'll keep them there, I won't delete them, but I won't call them. But I've consistently had between 50, and if I have 50, that's still 10% of my database. That to me is phenomenal. Okay, I have to share a story. I already shared it, and you walked out of the room. So you said, no, you're good. So you asked the question, what direct results did you get? Mm-hmm. And I shared this past October or November, I just moved into my neighborhood a year-ish ago, and I'm on a small cul-de-sac with 10 or so houses. We were having an event at our house, and because our cul-de-sac was going to be crowded, I knocked on all the doors to invite them to the party. Mm-hmm. And it was, hey, we're hosting an event. We're hosting a
client appreciation event for all of our real estate clients, so we know I'm in real estate. And we want to invite you guys, we're giving away pies, and my neighbor across the street said, oh my God, that's right, you're in real estate, I want to sell my house. I've probably really met her 3 times. She's a very, very, very homebody. Like, if her car's gone, then I know she's alive because she got out of the house, right? She's such a homebody. And we have her house in escrow.
Okay.
So direct result. She didn't actually come to the party, but the conversation was about the party.
Yeah.
So there's a direct result. Yeah. So where was I? Neighborhood nurture?
Yeah, neighborhood nurture.
So if you have an address,
Okay.
the map will pop up.
Yes, I do.
There
see.
should be a link somewhere on there that you can add additional addresses. It's not the preview link. Preview's on the bottom. Preview allows you to see what properties are currently on the market in their neighborhood.
It'll say add neighborhood.
Add neighborhood. If you click on that, you have to scroll into the neighborhood around where their current house is, and you can pick the other ones and click on it, and then they'll all show up in the top bar of what neighborhoods they're in. So they'll get that.
Wow, you really have that memorized. Like you're looking at the screen.
Can you see me looking at the
Yeah.
screen? I'm trying to figure out where it is. Yeah, I'm seriously, you guys. I'm on command every day. I do lead gen from 9:30 to 12:30.
Like where it says add neighborhood,
Yeah, add neighborhood.
and then you put the address.
You have to scroll into their neighborhood, and I click around it to make sure which neighborhoods I want to do. Like obviously, I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to do the $3 million property when I'm looking at a condo at Streamview. So you pick and choose what neighborhoods you want to play around with it. Play around with it. It's a pretty cool feature. So one thing about the events too. So when you have an event, the touches that you have for the event are not just the event itself. I actually create 6 touches out of every event I do. And you guys should write this down if you ever plan to do events. Or not, you can call me and I'll give it to you. The first thing I do is I create an invitation online. I do a bomb video. Are you guys familiar with bomb? It's a platform, it's a, I guess for lack of a better way to explain, it's a database platform where you can create videos, and when the email goes to them, the video is embedded in the email, it's not a link. It's actually embedded in the video so they can see that it's really you and they're not clicking on a random link that could be spam or whatever, right? Bomb, one word, B-O-M-B. I think I pay $300 a year, maybe $400 a year for unlimited. Maybe it's not unlimited, I don't have unlimited, I only send it out to like 500 emails, 400 emails. But we create a video, and there's dozens and dozens of templates to, you know, you can put links in them, you can
It's
put video.
bomb.com.
Yeah. You can put links, and you can put photos, and you can put, you know, template, you know, verbiage, whatever you want to do. So we have a master template that we use. The template for Bomb never changes, just like the template for Neighborhood Nurture never changes, right? They get the same template for everything we do, so they recognize that it's us. They recognize when they see the videos, and we'll say, new video from the Blumes. Most videos and most emails open rate, I want to say I've heard it's something like less than 10% on a database opens. Our videos are 35% open rate on average. 35%. I'm thrilled with that. Like, people watch it and they watch it again. And our videos are so we don't go, and this month in the real estate market, there were 38% more homes. Like, we don't do that. We make it fun and silly. I mean, my husband, when you meet him, is probably one of the funniest humans on this planet. Like, he's funny and he's silly and he's 15 years old. He's just such, yeah. So those are our videos. Like, we'll do videos and I'm like, there is no way in hell I'm doing this. And we don't script our videos too much, but once in a while we do. We were doing a video for a client event, and I'm like, I haven't planned the script. I don't know what we're gonna say. All I know is the date and time. We were inviting friends to come do concert in the park with us. You know, there's free concerts in the park in the summer. So we're like, free entertainment. I'll provide the picnic. Show up with your blanket and your kids and come hang out, right? So we get to the park that we're gonna do it in, and I'm like, I don't know what we're gonna say. And he literally grabs the phone. We're standing next to each other, and he does this stuff, and he goes, he's not saying a word, and I'm talking as he's going like this, and I'm getting dizzy watching it. But I'm just saying, we're having a party, and this is where it is, and we're at the park, and and I told all the details, and he finished, done. That was our video. It was stupid, it was obnoxious, but it's what gets opened, right? Like, that's him. And I usually stand there and laugh half the time of what he does. So the videos that we send out in our invitations for our events or our St. Patrick's Day video, one day I wanted to do, I've been doing like St. Patrick's Day cards, I'll write like an Irish limerick, and I'll just put it on a blank card that has like clover or, leprechauns on it. And I would send it to maybe about 20 of my clients, maybe 30, depending on how many I needed to write notes to. And I would put a little limerick. And I said, we need to do a St. Patrick's Day video. And he goes, okay, what do you want to say? And I go, well, I don't know, maybe we can do one of our limericks. So I started making up limericks about real estate, and I had like 5 of them. And every time I read it to Gary, telling him we need to pick one, he goes, let's do them all. So we went down to a park that was filled with all these high bushes and trees and, greenery, right? And he wore a leprechaun t-shirt with this big leprechaun hat, and he stood next to me while I was wearing a green shirt, and we had our little, thing on our camera. We do them on our camera, you guys. We do them on our phone. And I'm watching the little thing that, what do you call it when you read? Teleprompter. Mm-hmm. I'm reading the teleprompter of these limericks. They were stupid and silly and obnoxious, and I'm reading them, and I'm cracking up while I'm doing it. And Gary's standing next to me looking, and he's like shrinking of embarrassment into the camera while I'm doing this. That's what we sent out. That's why our stuff gets opened. Those are the monthly touches. So for him, it works because that's his personality. If you're a hiker or a runner and you're experiencing a new trail, videotape it and say something amazing about the community in San Diego. Oh my gosh, I'm in East County. I'm over here in Hamul, and I found this really great trail. And I just want to share the beauty of Hamul if you've never been out here. Send that in your video if that's you. If you are a wine connoisseur and you love to go wine tasting, share that in your videos. Whatever you are, to do this on social media. Your clients want to see the same thing. Your database wants to see the real you. They don't want to see you, rattling off statistics. That's for your write it down. Send a chart. People that love statistics will dig that. Not everybody loves statistics, but they want to see who you are. The videos are super fun and crazy. Be you and they'll open it, right? So, events, they get a video. And the videos, even when we're inviting to our events, it's, one event that we did, the video was me talking. Usually it's me talking. God, I wonder why. It's me talking and Gary doing something behind me in the background. And he was loading up the car from Costco with all the food and drink that we were buying to bring to the party, right? And that was the video with me telling all the instructions, and Gary's like lifting up a 6-pack of Diet Coke, 12-pack of Diet Coke, and kicking behind me that other thing. That's him. So that's what goes out. So you guys find what resonates in your personalities if you want to do those things, and put them on social media. We do every video we do, we post it on social media. So the Bonbon videos are our first touch. An Evite invitation is our second touch. So everybody in the database gets one, whether they live in South Carolina or they live in England. I don't care where they are, they get one. Because they might be in town, right? The third touch is a text from one of us, usually me. I'm more of the database follow-up. The text is a link to the Evite, in case they didn't open their emails, because honestly, on the Evites, I might have 30% people respond on Evite. Even though they see it or not, doesn't matter. Because on Evite you can see if they read it, or if they open the invitation. We probably have 30% that open it, but we still get more people with the events than that. So I will send them a text with a link to the Evite and say, hey, not sure if you got my invitation, got our email, and I'll put a couple of emojis so they know that it's, just want to make sure that you and Melissa know about the party that we're having next week. Let us know if you can come, either reply here or jump on Evite and let us know. Hope we get to see you. So that's number 4. Number 5 is at the event. For whoever shows, so 50 to 80 or whatever. And number 6 is a note card after the event. Thank you for coming. Sorry we missed you. If they RSVP'd and didn't come, I always text the next day and say, hey, we missed you at the party last night. Hope everything's okay. What's going on?
I think you jumped from 4 to 6.
5 is the event.
What was after the text?
It was Bomb, Evite, text.
At the event.
Did I skip 4?
Was it a separate text and then a text to the link?
No,
No.
it comes together, so I copy the link and
5 is the event,
5 is the event.
and then 6 is the thank you card.
Did I miss something?
I might be missing some. I had an e-bite with Bong Bong, then the
Two.
invite,
Yeah, Bomb Bomb
E-Bite.
is more of like a save the date kind of a thing, because we don't have them RSVP there.
and then the e-bite.
E-bite.
The text delete the e-bite
The text. You're right, I did miss a step. I'll have to look.
at the event.
The event,
And then thank
after
you.
the event,
Oh, after the event.
after the event, you send a note card. There is one more step before the event. What is it? It's another email, the e-bike reminder.
Oh,
Yeah. I have an e-bike send a reminder, even if I've texted.
When you say e-bike, it's that event, right?
Same thing, yeah.
Okay.
I use e-bike just because it's one of the first ones that came out and I learned how to use it and I don't want to learn something new.
Okay.
I know how to use it, but my assistant needs my help with managing, like we're doing one for this event that we're doing, and if it was on Eventbrite, I would be confused. He's starting to use another new platform for his calendar. I'm like, I don't know that calendar yet. Keep using the old one until I learn the new one. So there's 4 before the event, at the event, and then the follow-up after the event. I don't send the follow-up to the people that never RSVP'd or the people that said no. Sometimes I do it to the people that say no. Just a personal note, like especially the Thanksgiving one, that was easy because I send those out. I do it before I send out my holiday cards. But that's 5 or 6 right there, you guys. That's why I said mine is a 52 touch. I think they get 3 or 4 emails from me a month. 3 or 4. Yeah, not always, but so yeah. What else could we do? Should we talk about text messaging? Text messaging does not take the place of your phone calls. Does not take the place of your phone calls. Voice to voice is what you want, because when you're on voice to voice, you can definitely hear the tonality, you can ask them questions. It's weird to go, hey Joel, it's Amy, how's it going? Saw that you guys got a puppy, how sweet, what's her name? And then Joel replies, oh, her name is Samantha, oh my God, how adorable. Any real estate plans this year? That just sounds weird, right?
Yeah.
But if you go, hey Joel, how's it going? I saw you guys got a puppy. How sweet. What's her name? Da 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 da. Talk, talk, talk. Well, what else are you guys doing? Have you discovered the dog parks yet? Oh my God, you know what? I was just at a client's house the other day. They just put in a new dog park in LA Gardens. Or I was just down at my client's down near Rob Field. Have you been to that dog park yet? It's amazing. So you bring, if you can, your business into the conversation without bringing your business into the conversation. And I'll do this. I'll be driving by showing property in Spring Valley, and if I've had a client that lives in Spring Valley, or I know somebody that lives in Spring Valley that's on my database, I will message them from Siri voice while I'm driving. Oh my God, Margo lives down the street. Hey Siri, send a message to Margo and Jeff. Hey guys, I'm in your neighborhood. I'm showing property around the corner. Wish I had time to stop by. How are you? That's all. They know I'm in the business. I remind them over and over and over again. Simple stuff. Sorry. Sorry, Siri. So, all right, questions, ahas, ideas. Anything that I said that you think with these touches, I'm gonna do that. Anything that struck you?
Sounds like the newsletter.
Yeah, and I guess depending on who it is, because when I was doing the marketing and calling realtors, and we were doing their finance marketing flyer,
Yeah.
I would email them the updated finance marketing flyer. Then I would call them, they didn't answer them, and I would text, hey, just called you, so boom, 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 just call, leave them voicemail.
And that's what you do. Exactly, you did it. You got the experience. You know how to do this. So what you did for that, for your lender, is exactly what you do for your real estate business. And that's the thing. I mean, what conversation do I have? Hey, Melissa, I just sent you the neighborhood nurture. Have you had a chance to open up any of those properties? Do you have any questions about the program? Right? And I just started doing HomeBot this year, which is a very, very different experience for me, to give them, I'm sending them something of value of what their home is worth and how much equity they have. And
it's a really good report.
It's a super cool report. It tells them if you rented your house out monthly, if you rented it out for Airbnb, how much of your mortgage have you paid down, how much equity would you have if you sold it today, if you were going to sell it now, what could you buy based on your previous income, It's phenomenal wealth information, right? I have not called anybody about that yet, but what a great opportunity to go. And I mean, I have. Let me take that back. When I was starting my calls in January, other than Happy New Year, how can I help you this year? I would tell them about HomeBot is coming, but I didn't know exactly when it was gonna be, because we were still updating the database and getting everybody in there. But I did have the conversation. Hey, I noticed, you know, we've been sitting at the neighborhood nurture, have you had a chance to look at it yet? Even though you know they haven't, because Command will tell you if they've opened it. Command will say, John looked at these 4 properties. It will tell you right on Command. Every property they open up, it shows up as an activity on Command. You know that, but you call them up anyways. I had one, it was a listing I was about to take. She wasn't ready to list, we were maybe about 3 months out, maybe not, maybe a month out. And I noticed that she opened up one of my videos or one of my emails. I don't know, maybe it was my newsletter. And I saw that she opened it, and I called her up and I go, hey Margaret, it's Amy. And she started, I mean, literally, it was probably less than 5 minutes that I noticed it, right? I don't know how it happened, but it was like within the last 5 minutes I saw that she opened it. Hey Margaret, it's Amy Blume, how's everything going? And she was laughing. And I go, why are you laughing? She goes, I just opened up an email from you. I go, are you kidding me? What a coincidence. She had no idea. She had no idea. I mean, I know because we do it in our business that when I get a newsletter from somebody, and I do this too, you guys, if I want them to open up my newsletter, I'm sure as hell gonna open up theirs. I have realtor networks around the country that I've gotten to know over the years, so they're in my databases, I am in theirs. When they send me their newsletter, I open it. I want them to know how important they are to me, so that if they ever have a call from New York to San Diego, they'll go, Amy always reads my newsletters. Let me call her before I call John Smith. And everybody know, I mean, when I friend somebody on Facebook from one of my realtor contacts, I can see what agents in San Diego they're friends with. There's people on my database that are also on 7 other people's friends list in this office. And I'm gonna be, don't listen to this other agents who have friends outside of San Diego. No. But I will open up their messages, because I know that whatever MailChimp or BombBomb, whatever platform they're using, I know that they're gonna see that I open their email. And sometimes I'll do that. I'll stalk a client when I'm on my database and I'm calling somebody, I'm like, do I wanna keep this guy? He's never responded. I don't know if he's ever opened up. I will go into my platforms that have those, you know, alternative. When was the last time, did he ever open up any of my emails from BombBomb? Because it shows you, what did they open, when did they open, it'll show you, BombBomb does that. I think MailChimp does that also, for anybody who uses MailChimp. Command does it, so I'll look. I've been sending him emails for 3 years. I met him in an open house, he's never replied, delete. I don't do that anymore though. I learned from my coach, never ever ever delete anybody. I actually just closed an escrow last year from somebody that Gary met in an open house in 2014. And I found all my old, we used to have people sign in with their hand on a booklet that the title company would give you, because we didn't know how to use technology back then. It was only 10 years ago. I went through every single book I had, and I called every single person who had a phone number, and I said, hey, I don't know if you remember, you met my husband at this house, and I would describe the house, because we always write the address at the top of each page to know where we were. It was this house across the bridge in Normal Heights. Oh my God, I remember your husband. He was that guy, they would describe him. And I'm like, yeah, and I go, you know, I'm sorry that we didn't keep in touch with, did you guys ever buy a house back then? Yeah, my girlfriend and I both bought properties separately, but now we're engaged to get married and we want to buy a house together. Okay, I sold them a house last year. 8 years, 9 years, I had not been in touch with them. And they bought another property through us, because Gary met him in us. Don't ever delete a lead until they die. Or they unsubscribe. But even when they unsubscribe, I still keep them. I have a lot of clients that unsubscribe. I have a really, really, really good client. She's referred a ton of business to me. She will not take my emails. And I called her up one day and I go, Susie, is everything okay? She goes, yeah, why do you ask? And I go, well, I'm just concerned. I don't know if I maybe have the wrong email or if you unsubscribe. She goes, Amy, I get so many emails, I can't. She goes, you know I'm going to refer to you. Don't worry about it. I'm like, okay, if there's something really important that I need you to know, I'm going to call you. And I do. I text her or I call her if I have a party and she's not getting my emails because she unsubscribed from everything. And she comes to my parties and she still refers to me. So even if they buy or sell with somebody else, depending on who they are, I keep them on my database. I had a client years ago, back in the mid 2000s, we sold their house on a short sale. Do you guys know what a short sale is? We don't do this anymore. You know? Short sale is when you owe the bank $800,000, but your home is only worth $700,000, and there's a short amount to be able to pay the bank off if you sell it. So you would have to go to the bank, and it's a whole big process of requesting a forgiveness, not a forgiveness, allowing you to sell the property under those circumstances. So they call that a short sale. There's a lot of stuff that goes along with it, but that's in a nutshell. You owe more than it's worth and you have to sell it. So you get permission from the bank to sell it. We sold their house on a short sale in Santee, or their condo in Santee. They'd been renting for a couple of years, and they said, hey, we think we're ready to buy. It's been 4 years. You know, we're going to talk to the lender, da-da-da-da-da. And so I kept in touch. And as they were going through the process, she goes, you know what? My niece just got into real estate, and I really feel that I want to give her an opportunity because she's new to the business, and she really could use a business. And I'm like, absolutely, I understand, but let's meet anyways, just to make sure that you guys are protected, that you have somebody working in your best interest, da-da-da-da-da. Nope, we're going to do our lease. I could not get that appointment no matter how hard I tried. So I did delete them off of my database, but I posted on Facebook. We were still friends on Facebook. I posted on Facebook a client event. They RSVP'd for all 5 of them in their family, and I was pissed. I'm like, how dare they, right? I was pissed. I told her, I cannot believe these people, how rude. They bought a house with their niece, and they're still coming to our client appreciation party. They showed up. Of course, I was very nice to them, like I would have been had they not done that. At the end of the party, she calls me up and she goes, I'm so glad we got to see you. We need to sell the house. Can you sell it? And I go, I can, but what about your niece? Meh, she's not that good at what she does. It's been for years. We're not going to use her again. It was a horrible experience. So guess who now is a very good client, right? So don't delete unless they say to you, take me off your database. I had one client that said, my best friend's son, da-da-da, we want to support him. And they are not moving ever. They're going to die in this house, so they say, right? And they had referred to us. And when she told me that they had this opportunity with, you know, their friend's son, I kept them on my database because I learned my lesson from I don't even remember her name off the top of my head. I know his name is Brandon. So I learned my lesson from Tamara, and I kept this woman on my database. And I called her up maybe 6 months ago just to say hi because, you know, we've known each other for 20 years. And we're just talking, and she goes, oh, by the way, Amy, I wanted to remind you that my friend's son is in real estate, so go ahead and take me off of your database, or whatever, take me off your mailing list. I'm like, oh my God, Carrie, I'm so sorry, I completely forgot. You had mentioned that, I didn't forget. Absolutely, I'll take you off. I deleted her, because it's been like 7 or 8 years since we had that conversation. Did nothing, and that this kid would still be in the business, you know, because not everybody does. So, but otherwise, keep them in, even if they unsubscribe. And find out why. That's one of your phone calls. Hey, just want to make sure everything's okay. Are you still getting our newsletters? Are you still getting the da-da-da? No, we had to unsubscribe. Oh, is everything all right? What happened? Like, are you getting too many or, you know, whatever. I mean, find out. I mean, these people should be your friends by the time you shop with them long enough, right? So, all right. Any questions? Are you overwhelmed?
No.
Okay, good. Yeah. Because I can keep going. All right. Okay, so here's something that you can do. So when you say, I don't know what to say, and this is, you can do this really any time of the year. I usually do it at the beginning of the year if I'm missing information. As you're developing your database and putting your friends and your, you know, maybe coworkers from your past job or a social organization you're involved in or a volunteer organization, and I did this. My husband is a member of Kiwanis, and we're not allowed to solicit from those organizations. You get the mailing list or the phone list, you're not allowed to solicit, but we've known these people for a couple of years and we had some business from the group. I called people on that group and I would say, and this is, you know, if you don't know what to say, like, I've got friends, but how do I ask them for business? I just say to them, hey, you know Gary and I are in real estate, and I'm just curious, do you guys have anybody that you would be comfortable calling or working with if you ever had a real estate need? Do you have a realtor that you guys are comfortable with? And if they say yes, then I say, that is great, everybody needs an advocate to answer questions. If for any reason that person isn't available, just know that we're here for you. If you just have a question, you know, second opinion on something or whatever, it's great that you have somebody you can count on. If they say no, then I say, you know what, we'd love to be that resource for you. We can provide you information about the market, what your home is worth, anything that comes to mind that has to do with your home, repairs that you might need. Would it be okay if I send you guys information about the market, tips on maintaining your home, anything like that? 99.999% they're gonna go, you know what, that'd be great. And I'll even say to them, look, I'm not gonna inundate you with a bunch of crap. I'm not gonna inundate you with, stuff that, you're not gonna get something from me every day. You get something from me 4 times a month, but they don't notice because they don't open everything. So you just ask their permission. That's how you get the information you want. So at the beginning of the year, if I don't have anything really urgent that I want to say, I will say, you know what, we're just updating our database. I just want to make sure I have the correct information. Is this still your email? Or, I don't even have your guys' birthdays. You know how much we love to celebrate birthdays, because we talk about it all the time. When's your birthday? When's John's birthday? When are the kids' birthdays? Everybody in my database gets a birthday card if they don't get that little bag that I talked about. Everybody in the database gets a birthday card if I know their birthday. And I created like not Excel, Google Doc. I've created for their birthdays by the date. And when I go to buy the stuff for the birthday bags, I prepare all of my birthday cards at the end of the month for next month. So everybody's ready to go. I put the date of their birthday where the stamp would go, and I put the day I have to send the card. So the first one say like March 3rd, March 8th. And I send the card like 4 or 5 days before their birthday. So find out, just updating my database, when's your birthday, Like, don't ask them for everything on the command thing at the first call, but just get as much information as you can so that you can build that database. And you'll have their email to send them your newsletters, you'll have their mailing address so you can send them Christmas cards or holiday cards or birthday cards, or, if they don't have an email, you're going to send them the invitations to your events, that kind of thing. So there's another conversation to have. And you can do that in June. You can do that in June. You know what, I meant to ask you when we spoke last, I forgot. I want, do you want, can I put you on my database? Ask them, you have to ask them. You can't just mail stuff without asking. You gotta get their permission. Unless it's your mom. Okay. Let's see, what else? Do you guys have notes down on some things that you might want to implement? Why don't we do that for a few minutes? I have no idea what time it is. 2:30. We have plenty of time. Why don't we spend about 5 or 10 minutes maybe just jotting down a couple of ideas that you would want to put on what we call the 36 touch. Do you want me to go back to that screen that showed to get the ideas? This one? And if you have anything else outside of this, let me know, because I'm always looking for something new. So let's do that for about 5-10 minutes. Even if you have 3 people in your database, even if you don't have any, because you gotta start somewhere. And I'm gonna ask you, so you better write.
There's a test?
There's a test. No, because I wanna know your ideas. So yeah, write down what you think you might be doing. And even if you just start with 10, what would they be? Maybe you're not comfortable calling everybody yet. Call them once. Social media interactions, anything.
So do you make your own newsletter, like you compile information from different places, or do you have one that's already pretty much made?
I don't have one, and I was really looking for one. So one of the lenders actually all of the lenders that I work with, we get newsletters from lenders that we've never worked with. I do my best not to unsubscribe because I know how important it is to them, but if I get something from somebody I don't know, I will unsubscribe. Like if I get an unsolicited one, I will unsubscribe. But I know I get one from Blume Mortgage, I get one from another mortgage broker. Once in a while, maybe quarterly, I'll get one from the lender that I've known since I got my license. He and I went to college together. I might get maybe one a quarter from him. But I always look at their articles and I look to see if there might be a link as like the source. If I see an article on theirs that I really want to send out in mine, I will email them and say, through the newsletter, say, hey, love this. Is it okay if I use this article? Where was the source? And they always say, of course, this is where we got it. But I have a template. We send our newsletter through BombBomb. I know MailChimp does it. And I think Command even has an opportunity to do newsletters. I get most of mine from Realtor.com. I always check. So we start preparing our newsletter the first week. My goal is to get it out by the 15th of the month. So we always start our newsletter the first week like the actual template and putting the articles in and everything. We have the template never changes. The template for the newsletter never changes, and the template for our videos never changes. They're different than each other. But I will put in the article. I always do a real estate in the news so that it's timely to the market, and I always put a home tip like, you know, what are the benefits of putting turf in your front yard compared to regular grass, or spring cleaning ideas, or
So you just make the newsletter your own.
I create my own.
You don't use command? 'Cause I never-
I don't use command. I
Good
don't
section.
know why we haven't used command. My assistant creates it for me. We used BombBomb for videos before I came here. And when I said I've never used a database before, I did use a database through a coaching company that I used to do. I want to say it's been maybe about 12 years that I used that one. So I used BombBomb before I got to this company. And so that's where my videos go through. So when we were starting to create the newsletter, it was just my comfort level that I already know BombBomb. And so that's where our newsletters are being created.
So it's not only videos,
Yeah, I use BombBomb. You can do anything. We did, when COVID first hit, we did do a video, but the bulk of the BombBomb was how to still create personal experiences while you're locked in at home. And it was virtual reality experiences, whether it was webcams at the zoo or museum links that people, you know, they were doing these, you know, like what we were doing with real estate, where we had to do video tours and Matterports through houses, right? Any virtual experience, you know, bedtime stories with Betty White for your children. Like, we had a different subject, you know, children, couples, museums, art, you know, sports and recreation. Like, we had like 4 or 5 main subjects, and under each main subject, we had like 5 or 6 different links. Some of them were date specific, Mondays and Wednesdays, bedtime stories with Betty White, you know, Tuesdays and Thursdays, you know, arts and crafts with so-and-so, whatever. So we put all these links, and that was the bulk of it. We did do our video introduction, say, hey, we just want to make sure everybody's okay out there. If you need anything, you know we're here. You know, otherwise, we just want to share some of the things that we've been experiencing during COVID to keep ourselves engaged. Hope you find something fun to do. I mean, jigsaw puzzles or whatever. I mean, just silly stuff, you know, book clubs, whatever it was. Like, we had probably 30 or 40 different links in there. And that thing got open. And, you know, I set my bomb to notify me as soon as it gets open and played, the video. But after about a week, I had to shut it off. Like, I was getting email after email after email because these people were opening it all the time. So you can literally, there's a template, you can create anything you want in there. So yeah, so BombBomb. Yeah, I know MailChimp has a lot of very creative things as well. I don't know if Canva does things like that. I know you can create on Canva.
You can create.
You can create, but I don't think it does.
Or maybe share, but not.
Yeah, not a full. Yeah.
When you send out these newsletters, so it's always Gary and yourself. Is Gary also a real estate agent?
Yeah, Gary's my business partner. He's my husband and my business partner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So both of you are real estate.
Yeah. So everything we do is together.
Awesome.
Social
loan
media is
officer, right?
separate. What's that?
He's a loan officer?
No, he's an agent. He's
Oh,
a
he's
realtor.
a-
Yeah, he's a realtor. Social media we have separate. We do have a business social media account, but he's not as into social media as I am. So 99% of the video content or the photos of either of us are me. But I always put it in as we. So everything we do, if I'm by myself in an open house and I'm doing a quick little, you know, video invitation or whatever, you know, reel, I'll just go, we're hosting an open house, even though I'm there by myself, right? We're hosting an open house and look at the gorgeous view, you know? So I'll do a quick little thing and he's nowhere to be found and he won't even be at the open house, right? So partner or not, do it. If I had to wait for him to do things, not that he's not there. I mean, he will do it when I ask him, but we're in 2 different directions. And as you guys get your business rolling, you'll find you're not gonna be sitting in the office together. You're gonna be out showing property and you're gonna be out doing inspections, you know? So for us to be in the same room at the same time for more than about an hour during the day is almost impossible. He's in Alpine this afternoon while I'm here, and then he's going to open up a property that we have listed that needs accompanied by us to show. I was at that property this morning, and then when he goes home to go to a meeting, I'm gonna go back, like, we're not together. Maybe that's why we get along so well. No, I'm kidding. We get along so well because he's really easy to get along with. So yeah, I just say we because he's my partner.
Okay.
He's my business partner, and he'll have clients that I've never met. And when I'll be engaged a little bit. Like if there's something that he doesn't have time to do, I will, you know, call or message. We always tell the client, business partner, we're interchangeable, you won't know the difference. What I know, he knows, and vice versa. Nobody has ever seen a difference in how we communicate with, or the knowledge that we have about the transaction or the experience that the client is having. Even if I've never spoken with the client, because he mostly works our buyers and I mostly work our sellers, at the close of escrow, I'm the one who runs the database. I'm like, hey Gary, you need to call Richard, it's been 3 months. If it's time to call Richard, the whole quarter will go by and it's March 31st. I'm like, you gotta call Richard. April 1 is tomorrow and I gotta start over on my database, right? Because I call everybody for the quarter. He has 3 people he needs to call, but that's not his thing. Database is not his thing, that's my thing. So when we close escrow, everything that they get comes from our joint email, so they always see Amy and Gary Blume, our logo on the bottom, the whole thing. At the close of escrow, I'm the one who does the follow-up. Hey, I just wanted to remind you, now that you and Gary have closed escrow, don't forget you have the home warranty plan. Like, I'll make the phone call. I'll make the phone call to let them know about, whatever it is that they need to know about the closing. You're gonna get your closing statement, you're gonna get your refund check. I will call them before Gary will. So I'm the one with the smart plans. He's the one that says, tell me where to be.
Okay.
It's awesome. I love that. And I'm like, yeah, I need you. Hurry up. Yeah. So what ideas did you get for a 36 touch? Anything?
I was looking at the newsletter thing and how I come up with my own.
Yeah.
Because, there could be some factual stuff, and then just something totally unrelated.
Exactly.
I was thinking, what happened this day in history?
Oh,
Or
good
something
one.
like that.
Yeah.
Like just at the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something that has to be.
And mix it up, because I used to start the newsletter with featured property, and they wouldn't be on it long enough to read everything else that was probably more important than a list, or a listing, right? So we switched it up, and that's now more towards the bottom. So real estate in the news, I think everybody will at least glance at it, and if that can capture them, like, what's gonna happen in the market now that interest rates went back up? Or interest rates have come down 1 point, how is that gonna affect your production, like I'll find, so Realtor.com has some really good articles for that. What I do, and I started to say, we prepare the newsletter at the beginning of the month and we're gonna mail it out around the 15th. We always get back on Realtor.com right before we mail it to make sure that if I'm talking about interest rates last week and there's been a big shift, like they went up last week, right? I'm not gonna send the article that says, oh, there's been a downturn in the interest rates so the market went up. There's not a downturn anymore. So I'm gonna check Realtor.com one more time, and if they happen to open it after I put the article in, well, too bad, so sad, you waited 2 weeks, it's not timely anymore, right? They know they need to open it when they get it, right? So I always check Realtor.com right before, because they have great timely articles, and they usually put out maybe 2 a week. Some of them are older, some of them are back from like January, but they usually put very timely information, at least weekly. So I always check that. So I do that, I do home tips, I do local events, like Earth Fair, even though it's not as big as it used to be. We're gonna be putting Earth Fair, and we're gonna be putting, I think we already did St. Patty's Day in February. I think we already announced St. Patty's Day because of the timing of the event. So I'll do local events. If there's, a Mardi Gras event in town, and I try to do free events. I don't want people to think that I'm soliciting for everybody's haunted house and you have to pay $30 to get in, right?
Yeah.
So I try to do free events. They're usually family friendly, because we do have a lot of families in our database, but your clientele. I try to keep it as generic as possible, as far as age group, and I try to keep it to free events. Like we'll post the gay parade, the Pride Parade, each summer. We'll put that on there the previous month. So yeah, local events are easy. Local events in San Diego, March and April, and 800 things will pop up. But yes, history, and even history about Old Town, or history about whatever, a certain neighborhood that you stumbled upon that you do know about.
Oh, I don't know why.
Exactly.
I'm new here.
Exactly.
San Diego.
Yeah. But that would be great. Yeah. All right. Who has starting of a 36 touch?
Well,
There you go.
I was thinking the one that where you ask them if they have somebody they can ask just comfortably a stupid random real estate question. And then I'll be that person.
Exactly.
If they do have a second opinion,
For
so
sure.
they threw that in, and then also offer if they want, like, you know, if they need an electrician, a landscaper, etc. You know.
And start
They can
building
call.
your list of your vendors and put your vendors on your database, you guys. Put your vendors in your database, because if you continue to refer to them, then you can say, you know what, I'd love to make this a reciprocal relationship. I've referred to you, you know, A, B, and C client. Who do you know that wants to buy some real estate that you can refer to me? And there's a conversation that says if they're not gonna refer to you, delete them. I have a hard time doing that, honestly, because I have a contractor that's freaking amazing. He's met my husband down, he gives us free bids, he doesn't charge us for his quotes, and he's always cheaper than anybody else that ever gets used, you know, that ever gets called
For a
out. Contractor. And his workmanship is the best I have ever seen. Like a drywall repair, Gary went to go look at a drywall repair one day for us, one of the first times we used it, Gary goes, I thought you said it was in the laundry room, I'm not seeing the patch. Like he didn't see where the drywall had been repaired. There was a big, huge cutout from a leak, and Gary couldn't find the patch. Like that's the kind of thing. So does he refer to me once in a while? Will he transact with me when it's time to do business? I hope so. We've had those conversations, and I'll pull him out to properties. I'm like, he's like, I want to buy an investment property. I'm like, great, you want to buy this one? You know, so we've had those conversations. If he never works with me, will I delete him? Probably not until I find somebody that's as good. You know, I don't want to give a subpar referral. So, but put your vendors on your list. Plenty of them will go, wow, I'll work with you. Because nobody else is asking. Nobody else is asking. And it doesn't matter if they're your escrow company, your title company, your termite company, and all of their clients are real estate agents, they're gonna work with somebody. They're gonna work with somebody. Unless their spouse is in the business. They're gonna work with somebody. So
But when we start working here, will they give us a list of vendors, for instance?
we have something here called the Strategic Marketing Partners. They are vendors, for lack of a better word. We have home inspectors, we have the home warranty companies, we have a solar guy, all kinds of businesses. Some of them are well, they're all real estate related in some fashion that we can utilize for our clientele. When somebody says, oh my God, I need a da-da-da-da-da, go to the S&P, because they've been invited to participate, usually because of a relationship with somebody in the office. Like I've referred people to the S&P program. One of my home inspectors is on it, and I referred him to the program, and he's been on it for about 1.5 years now. Go to them because it's agents who work with them that say, I think they'd be a good fit, so we can usually rely on the credibility and the workmanship of who they are. But start developing your own. If you meet, and here's something that Gary and I did when we had a farm neighborhood years and years and years ago, where we raised our kids. We were door knocking door to door. And this was Gary's forte. He would knock on the door and say, you know what, we're creating a list of home improvement vendor type of things for the community. And we'd love to know if you've done anything on your home, anything from roof to landscaping, front, back, in and out, sideways. Who have you worked with that you would be comfortable referring that we could call? And then we would call that vendor and say, hey, we're putting together this list. It's free to you to advertise here. All we ask in return is that if we send you referrals from this opportunity, that you would think of us when it comes to real estate referrals. And we now have a list of like 30 different vendors from doing that. And I put them in my database, and I put in the database who told me about them and why. When was it? Like, I met you on such and such a date, John Smith referred me to them, da-da-da-da. So every time I look at them or I talk to John Smith, I know to have that conversation. So ask, I mean, if you're door knocking or even circle prospecting, you know, hey, have you had, you know, I'm looking to create this list, even if you don't put the list together. People call me to go, I need a dog groomer. What does that have to do with real estate? I'm not kidding you, I need a dog groomer.
Well,
Guess what? I have a dog groomer. I need a hairdresser. I have 3 hairdressers. So you want to be that resource for your people so that when they have a need, you're the first one to think of. Another conversation to have in your database.
Yeah.
You know, if you ever need anything, whether it's pool cleaning or building a second story, I don't care what it is. You need your trees trimmed, you need somebody to mow and blow, I got somebody for you. And if I don't, who do you use that I could recommend? That's a great call to make. It's a great call to make. Yeah. All right. I know you need to go. It's 3 o'clock. Okay, cool. All right, we don't have, I know the remainder is doing the daily success system. Are you guys hanging tight to do those at all? The 10-10s,
We saw it yesterday.
Okay.
Or not yesterday, on when was
Last
Monday?
Okay,
No, this week.
okay,
Tuesday maybe.
okay. Yeah, we're not doing it much, cause I know once the 2 hours hits, everybody's like, okay, I gotta go. So here's what I'm gonna request from you guys. I have Barbara's number, so I'm gonna call her and I'll text her and tell her what I am hoping. I would love to see you guys put together a 36 touch. Just jot it down or put it in notes on your phone of what you think you might want to implement. Not what you're gonna say or what it's gonna be, but you know what, I'm gonna make 3 phone calls this year and I'm gonna do 6 emails and whatever it is. I would love it as your homework is to put together a simple 36 touch that you think you can implement with your database and your leads. And will you please text it to me? Is that cool?
Simple, what is it,
36 touch. So of all the things we talked about between calls, notes, personal, face-to-face, even a coffee date, whatever it's gonna be. If you know that there's 10 people in your database that you should be seeing at least once or twice a year, coffee dates, whatever that looks like for you, how will you keep in touch with your database?
I really like the Popeyes idea.
Me too.
Super fun.
I am.
Do you have some ideas for it?
I think I am. Well, it just came to my mind when I purchased my home. You know, never received any happy birthday pop-up gifts from the realtor who helped me. So now.
And you know what? And when they have little kids, did I miss his birthday? I was out of town. Dang it. If they have little kids and you know these kids and they're all over you when they're looking at property, right? And you play with them when they're looking at the house and you get invited to their birthday parties because you just become such good friends with these families, right? Even when you're not invited to birthday parties anymore because now they're in 3rd or 4th grade, they're like, Mom, stop inviting your friends. You still bring them a little birthday bag or a little birthday card or a little treat or whatever, you know?
Amy, what's your phone number?
619-980-8441.
619-980-8441.
Yeah, and it's Amy, A-M-Y, Blume, B-L-U-M-E. Yeah, the Popeyes can be fun. And just,
L-U.
and
That's a really good idea.
yeah, just do 1 a week,
Yeah.
5 a month, whatever. I mean, you don't have to, anything that we're doing, you don't have to do 800 of them. You don't have to do, I mean, the Popeyes, to do a Popeye for everybody, I mean, there's not enough hours in the day for me to drive to everybody's house. And I don't use runners for those things. Like, I want to be able to have my picture and my face so the client can see me, so that they know. You know, maybe down the road I might do that if my database gets too big, but after 35 years, I don't think it's going to get that big.
What does your schedule look like?
I have a great schedule. I wake up early so that I can spend about 2 hours on just me. I meditate, I read, I journal, I work out. I have a real breakfast, unless I'm really rushing to get I have a 7 o'clock meeting, but that's a breakfast meeting. So I am sitting at my desk by about 8 or 8:30, usually. I will oftentimes do Stephen's language of real estate, unless I have not a lot of transactions, unless I have a transaction or two that needs some attention that I couldn't get to yesterday, right? But I typically will do that. I lead generate from 9:30 to 12:30. I've really streamlined my lead gen. My lead gen literally is my database. I don't lead gen expired certificates or any of that. I used to years and years and years and years ago. I'm not good at it, and I think it's because I didn't enjoy it, because my very first job was cold calling, and I quit after 3 days. No, I sold photo packages for a photo company in San Diego, and I quit after 3 days. So it's not my thing. I'm not good at it. So I lead generate. My lead generation includes going through command and doing my tasks, which is my lead follow-up. I bang that out first, and then I spend the rest of my time making my calls to my database. I know how many are in my database and how many calls I need to make per day. And I evaluate that pretty much every week or every other week. Like, if I'm behind, then I'll adjust my numbers. And then after that, I go on appointments, whether it's inspections or meeting clients for coffee or listing or buyer appointments. If I do have to do a buyer or a listing appointment in the morning, and I'm not doing a buyer listing appointment every day or every week, by all means. I mean, I'm not a 300 unit agent. I'm, 15 to 30 at any given time, right? My years fluctuate. I would say 15 to 25 transactions over the last couple of years has been pretty typical for me, maybe the last 10 years.
Per year.
For me, yeah, for Gary and I. So, yeah, per year. So I'm not on appointments every day like that, but I block out the time in my calendar that says appointment. So anything that I do on my calendar, on my Google Calendar, everything has a color. If it's gonna make me money, it's green. Like if it's an actual set appointment, like I have a showing this afternoon at 4:30, that 45-minute showing is in green. If I have to make an urgent phone call, I'll put that with the alarm and everything, but everything that I do that's gonna make me money is green. My lead gen, my morning routine is in pink because it's personal, and I just say morning routine. Like all the things that I do with my meditation, all that, that's blocked out for 2 to 2.5 hours in the morning. But I do leave a default color for an appointment every day between 2 and 4, depending on my agenda. I do attend a networking meeting once a week. I'm a member of it, so we're encouraged to be there every week, so that's in there on green. Any of the office meetings or classes are in my calendar in light green, because if I learn something, it could lead to money, right? So team meetings are in light green, coaching sessions are in light green, any classes that are being offered, the Ashley's class I talked to you about, the business planning clinic, that's in green. So anything that isn't my immediate income is light green. That's pretty much it. I schedule lunches probably once a week, lunches or coffees with my clients or my database. At least once a week, those go in green.
What time are you usually in bed?
I'm sorry?
What time are you usually in bed?
One more time slowly. What
are
time
you
do I
normally
usually go to
sleep?
bed? I would like to be asleep by 9. I just started doing an alarm on my phone to remind me that it's 8:30. I wake up at 5, yeah. It's 8:30, get ready for bed, because you know you're not. And I've been busy because I have a new listing and a couple of escrows, and I'm writing offers for a buyer. I've been staying up till like 11 or 11:30. I'm still waking up at 5 though, because the most important thing that I do every day is my morning. That's, I don't care if I have a minute for each activity and 10 minutes for a workout, I will do that every single morning without fail. I absolutely will wake up. If I have a meeting at 7 a.m. that I have to be out the door by, and I gotta be like ready and in the shower by 6, I still will wake up at 5 to give myself a minute to on everything. So that is an absolute non-negotiable for me. I'm really good about protecting my calendar for my lead gen. I learned this a few years ago during COVID. I connected with another realtor in the office, and we Zoomed together every morning with a little picture of us in each other's corner, and we were committed to each other to lead generation, and we did this consistently for about 2 years until I was able to handle the habit on my own. And it was golden, let me tell you. Like the habit, that's when I really got the most consistency in my database, was having that absolute, like I couldn't not show up for my time with her, and she couldn't not show up for me. And it was, hey, the only time my client can do the home inspection is Monday at 9:30, and I'd go, you know what? Was never to break our time with each other. Really able to have it. For the two, it's gonna be hard. Because you live together, you sleep together, you play together, you're gonna go, yeah, we can go to the beach this morning instead. We'll do our lead gen later. Don't give each other. It's hard to be accountability partners to each other.
Yeah.
You see that she's tired, she's had a rough day. Last 3 nights I was up till 11. Gary knows I want to be in bed by 9 so I can fall asleep and wake up at 5. Energy, like I love 8 hours of sleep. 7's my minimum. I've had 5 hours the last 3 nights. And I'm still fine, right? I mean, I'm functioning, no problem. But here's the thing, and Gary said to me this morning, I was sitting on the sofa doing my meditation, my whatever, and he comes out and he goes, are you okay? I go, yeah, why? He goes, because you've been working really late nights. Do you think you need to take a little bit of a break? And I go, here's my deal. I could be stressed out because I have no business, or I could be stressed out because I have too much. I'm picking my stress.
That's a good problem.
Right? That's a good problem to have. So he was gonna let me off the hook because he's my husband and he wants to take care of me. But he also knows the importance of the business because we're in it together. So don't choose each other to keep each other accountable.
Oh, sure.
Find somebody outside of yourself. So I have a group of women now that I now collaborate with and mastermind with, and he knows, don't touch that relationship, and those are my people. Those are the people that we're holding each other accountable and we're supporting each other outside of our personal, intimate relationships. So get somebody, each of you.
Joe, I'm gonna start hitting you up, man.
Seriously, find somebody outside of yourselves. And Gary respects that relationship. Like, these women are my best friends. Like, they are my absolute best friends because I was able to get that outside of him.
And you start practicing a lot on certain things.
Yeah. Find your people. And find, I mean, especially you guys, you're starting. This is a great opportunity.
I need friends.
Seriously. Yeah. And support each other. Like, I took Bold October. Have you guys heard of Bold?
Sorry.
No, you guys are good. I took Bold a couple of months ago, and we all each had accountability with each other. And we were texting each other, this is my goal, and this is what I want to do. And some of the people we're still in touch. People from other brokerages, other color brands. We're still in touch. I mean, granted, it's only been 4 months, but
Yeah.
we hold each other accountable in a good way.
Yeah.
You know, in a good way. So don't always do it with your best friend or your wife or your spouse, because we give in.
Yeah.
You know, my daughter calls me at 5 in the morning when I'm getting ready to go work out because she's in this. And she's like, "Mommy, can you talk?" And I'm like, "I love you so much, sweetie. Can I call you in an hour? Is it an emergency?" And my husband's right behind me going, you better talk to her. You know, she's calling you if she needs you. So yeah, find somebody that won't.
For sure, yeah. No, sounds cool.
See,
Alright, cool. Did you get my number? Call me for anything.
I did, I did.
Seriously, I'm happy to be available if you want to brainstorm on
So,
stuff.
I need some advice.
Okay.
I just had yesterday on a rainy day. I had my very first house showings for a buyer.
Okay.
Figured it out. You know, contacted the agent.
Yeah. How to schedule the showing. and all
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
via text message. I figured out that most of them you just go to the MLS to the SDRA and then you can just there's like a calendar section.
Yes. Yeah. So definitely when you're showing the property, look to see what the showing instructions are. I can tell you as a listing agent, it's very frustrating when the agents don't read the directions because there is a section there showing instructions,
yeah.
right? And they'll either tell you text the agent for an appointment, schedule it for showing time,
Or call.
Just go. Yeah, whatever they do, definitely adhere to it.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was, and then I had the same person I had a showing this morning. So, you know, he's already pre-approved. He's my first, basically lead or
First client, yeah.
So I have a consultation tomorrow. Well, I'm gonna reach a possible buyer today, and then she did let me know that tomorrow, her husband and her are off. So
Okay.
I'm gonna be meeting with them. However, they seem very nervous about purchasing. They were like, I had a conversation with her over the phone. She was like, "Hey, I'm nervous. I was really close to pulling the trigger 2 years ago during COVID. Unfortunately, I didn't.
Bye, Shelby. Good to see you.
And now she's banging her head
Because she didn't then, and the property
because
went
she
up, and
didn't
interest
then.
rates. I know. Yeah.
and the property that she saw was really new, perfect home, and now she thinks that houses are going to go down. She was like, "By the way, do you think houses are going to go down again? Interest rates are going to go down." So I gave her, kind of like the spiel that Steven is kind of letting us know. It's like, hey, interest rates are a little high right now. This is nothing new. Just want to let you know that as soon as those interest rates come down, because they are going to come down, there's a bunch of buyers who are on the sidelines, just like you're letting me know right now that you're ready to buy when those interest rates go down. So I asked her, like, what do you think is going to happen when those interest rates go down, and then you start putting offers? There's going to be a bunch of people competing for that house that you might want.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Right now, the market is a little bit more stable in a sense where buyers have
A little more
control. And she was like, okay, let's set it up.
Good.
But my question is, it's like she didn't pull the trigger, and now in my head I'm like, okay, if she didn't pull the trigger, maybe she didn't. She said she was working with an agent, but would you suggest me going into like instead of like implementing? She seems like more of a fear that the agent implemented from kind of like the vibe that I got, and now I'm like, okay, I'm implementing fear. It has to be like something exciting, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what do you want? What are your needs?
That's what I was gonna say, yeah.
She like all of a sudden she wanted like I don't know how much she's gonna be pre-approved, but if it's over the asking price, if it's over her budget or her mortgage loan, how can I approach that? I know right now it's very difficult for people to.
Okay, so you're talking about, so the property, do you know what she's approved for?
No, she hasn't been approved for it. This is going to be my consultation tomorrow.
Okay, oh, gotcha, okay. All right, so let me understand your question. Are you concerned that she's gonna wanna look at property that's over?
Yes.
So the asking price, let's say she's approved for 850, but she wants to look at things for 900, right?
Yeah, she was very transparent. She was like, "Oh, my husband's making about 77, 80 a year. I'm making about 50. I was like, 135, 140 a year." She's like, "We don't know anything. I just have one car that I'm leasing, and that's it."
Okay.
I'm like, okay.
All right.
In my head, I'm like,
so let me tell you what I do with my buyers. I just met a buyer
and it's
2 weeks ago. And so here's what I do when I get a buyer, and there's different philosophies, but my way of working with buyers, I don't know why I'm struggling with the words. When I meet a buyer, I always find out, very gently because you don't want to offend, a little bit. First I find out why are they buying. Tell me what's important to you about buying a home. And Stephen goes through this. I know he's done this, right? What's important to you about buying a home? Well, we've got 3 kids now and we're stuck in this apartment. They really need a place to live.
3 kids, a dog.
Right? Okay. So
questions.
We need a yard, we want to be in a house, or you know what, I can't handle the stairs anymore. My knees are shot, I can't go up and down the stairs. Okay, so you need a single level home. You need something da. So you find out what, not just, I want 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a house to have a walk-in closet. Like, you want to know why. You want to instill this need in them. Like, what's important to you about buying, right? And I ask my clients the same thing when they're selling. When I go on a listing appointment, I'll ask the same thing. What's important to you about moving? Like for me, the last property I just moved last year in October, for me, my thing was I can't climb up and down the stairs anymore. I've had a hip injury for 4 years and I'm tired of it not getting healed. I gotta get into a single level, and I'm not, like, the next house I buy has to be single level. Because it might be my forever home. My husband's 10 years older than me. We're not doing stairs for the rest of our lives, right? So you find out why it's important. You know what, I just don't like the community anymore. It served its purpose when we bought it, but now I'm ready to downsize, or now I'm ready to simplify, or now I'm ready to move up, or we just have 5 kids, whatever the reason is. Find out their motivation. That's one, and I know you've learned that from Stephen. When it comes to actually showing property, I do not open a door until my buyers have been approved. Fully 100% underwritten approved. I send them to, I have one of them in a mortgage and I have another lender. I usually refer them to both if they ask for both, and we know broker Bob always says you gotta give out 3 referrals for everything. That's not always the case that we do, right? We always have our favorites, but I do refer to Ed and I do refer to somebody else. And the conversation that I have with the buyer is, at our buyer consult, is tell me your experience in the market. What do you know about buying a home? Have you ever done this before? Tell me what your experience is or what you think it looks like. And then you go, you know what, you're right. And you give those little examples. And what I tell them is not only am I a buyer's agent, but I'm also a listing agent. And this is what I expect as a listing agent when an offer comes to me. I want to know that the buyer has been fully approved, that their assets, documentation, everything's been scrubbed over by the loan officer, by the lender, right? And I also give them the example that when the seller, in a market, which we've had the last couple of years, when the seller has 5 offers to choose from, let's say you're all at the asking, you're all at 850, all of you are at 850, you all have 20% down. Which offer do you think the seller's gonna choose? Are they gonna choose the offer that has their full loan approval, so they know that that hurdle has been met? Or are they gonna take the offer where they haven't even talked to their loan officer yet? And they know they have to wait 3 weeks to make sure that you're approved for the loan. Which one do you think the seller is going to consider most? Is it the one that's never talked to a lender and they're not really sure if they can get the loan?
The one who has, has been pre-approved.
Has been
Absolutely.
exactly. And that's exactly why it's important that you know what you can afford and that the loan has gone through full underwriting. Blume Mortgage does that. They'll put the loan through full underwriting before they turn the buyer back to you. In the meantime, you're still in touch with the buyer, because it could take, depending on how long it takes the buyer to get the documents, it can take a buyer a month to get the documents, but Movement can get them approved in 3 days or 5 days. Sorry guys, I don't know how long it takes you, but they can get them done in a very, very timely manner. The
It's
full
about 3 days or so.
It can be 3 depending on, But if the buyer trickles in, here's my last month's bank statements, and then 2 weeks later, oh, here's my W-2 from last year. Oh wait, I can't find my W-2 from 2020, but let me see what I can do. Like if they trickle the paperwork in, it's gonna take that long or longer, right? So I'm still in touch with the buyer while we're going through that. I've got a buyer right now. I referred her to one of my lenders. She was the one from the open house that I didn't talk to her for 3 months. She ghosted me until she walked in. Were you here when I said that?
Yeah.
She ghosted me for 3 months and she goes, I found the house I want to buy. I happened to be having lunch with one of my lenders, right? And it was the first time I talked to her after the open house. So I looked at Audrey and I go, hey, you want a new buyer? I have no idea what she could do. She's like, yeah, give her to me, right? So I connected them. I had been in touch with her. She still has not completed her approval. She's still waiting to ask her employer for verification of employment, because the way she employed is wonky. It's not like the standard W-2s and pay stubs. It's been 2 months, month and a half. I'm still talking to her though. Hey, just wanted you to know that I'm searching out some of those off markets we talked about. Hey, I talked to my office to see if they have anything in the neighborhood. I'm not giving her properties yet, because she knows she can't. She knows she can't. But I make sure the buyers that I work with, and I will tell them from the start, it's very important that you're fully underwritten. I need you to go through this process if you really want to buy a home, because most agents and most sellers are expecting that. And I want to make sure that when we write offers, you're at least going to get a response rather than a rejection. It has to at least be that. We want to put the best foot forward when you're writing offers to make sure that you get listened to. So once in a while, I'll show the property outside of that. Once in a while I will, depending on who it is. But it's rare that I do that. It's rare that I do that. And as long as you just let them know why, and ask them why. Why do you think it's important that happens? And explain what the market was like because you weren't in the business during COVID. It was literally, you need to remove your loan contingency right now. You need to remove your appraisal contingency right now. And you need to prove to me that if the appraisal doesn't come in and you only get this loan instead of this loan, that you bring in the cash for the difference. That's what we were dealing with during COVID. Buyers today have it easy. They have it easy because there's not 85 offers that you're getting 6 months of free rent. Oh, you want it? Well, I don't want to move out yet. I'm going to stay for 6 months and you're going to pay your mortgage and your rent, and I'm not going to pay anything. I'm not kidding you. That's what it was like. Because people were so desperate to get a house, they would do anything.
Wow.
Anything. I mean, it used to be if we saw like a special bottle of wine in the refrigerator, and we knew, or a special beer that we figured, oh, the seller likes that beer, we would go buy a 6-pack of it and say, here, you can have this if you accept our offer. Like it was simple, silly things, right? Like just joking around, Hey, I see you like the goals. We've got season tickets. We'll give you a set of season tickets if you take our offer. Now it's like, oh, you want $30,000 over ask and free rent for 6 months? Sure. So yeah, so buyers, I do like to use those examples with the no, I'm not gonna get approved. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't know my client. I have an agent I can refer you to though. I mean, I've never had to have that conversation.
Okay.
So as long as you make it clear to her in a very sincere, it's sincere that most sellers will not look at an offer if the buyer has not been fully approved. And the other thing that goes with it, you want to know what you can afford. Maybe you can afford $1 million, but you don't want to spend that much once you see the payment. So let's figure out what payment you will be paying, that you are comfortable paying. Maybe that's $850. I have a buyer in one of my properties, he's a tenant. We had him approved for a loan because we wanted to buy the property. And so I told my clients, you know what, let's have him get approved. Well, I'm not gonna do anything until you know if he's gonna buy it. Like, I'll hang tight if you guys aren't in a rush. So we had him approved with my loan officer. He qualifies for $1 million. He's approved fully underwritten for $1 million. And when he looked at that payment, he's like, hell no. He goes, so he had the loan officer break down the payments for him at different price points. He goes, I don't wanna spend X amount. So his price is $850. He can afford to buy this house he's living in.
Right.
But he doesn't wanna pay that much. So he's looking elsewhere for $850. So you have that conversation too, you know what? I know you can qualify for $1 million, or, you know, based on what you told me, you think that you qualify for $1 million, but let's really dig into this with the lender, so it's important that you know what your expenses are. It's not just the mortgage payment, there's other expenses that go with owning a home, and we wanna make sure that all of that matches your budget, your personal budget. So I don't want you to fall in love with a house for $950, even though you can afford it, if you only wanna pay what $850 brings you. So let's make sure we have that going on, so that you're not disappointed that you can't afford the house you wanna buy. I don't want you to fall in love with something that's out of your reach.
Right.
I mean, I say it in a fashion that they don't go, well, okay, you know. I have a client right now, she wrote an offer on her property. She wrote an offer knowing it wasn't gonna get accepted, and I said to her, you know, they're asking $490, she's downsizing because she has no money left. She's approved for $490, but her comfort level payment is $470.
Okay.
The HOA was higher than normal, so she said $465 is my max. $465 is my max on this property. She's not gonna get it at $465 because it's worth $490 or more. But she fell, and she said, can we look at it as $490? I said, well, we can look at it for sure, Dad, but I just wanna make sure that if you fall in love with this property, that you have another means to making it work.
Oh, she's so fun.
Oh yeah, she gave him $25,000 under ask. And the agent calls me and he goes, well, that was funny.
That was funny.
That was funny. I go, I know, but you know what? If you don't ask, you don't get. Let's figure this out. We'll figure something out, right? But I said to her, I can show it to you absolutely. It looks amazing. I'm sure it's gonna hit all of your hot buttons. I just wanna make sure that you're gonna be okay with the fact that
Probably gonna be
it's
better.
out of your reach right now. I don't want you to fall in love with it with the expectation that you will get it at the price that you want. How are you gonna work this out? And she is working it out. She had the lender reconfigure the numbers. She can put a little bit more down, and she can actually come in at $480, which I think the seller will take. And she might be able to get a gift from her son. So.
Oh man.
So yeah, but you know, just I mean, without being doom and gloom, because it isn't a doom and gloom conversation, but just ask her those questions. You know, if we do, because we are competing, houses are getting multiple offers again. They are getting multiple offers again. They're not going 150 over ask anymore, but I want to say I just closed one yesterday that was at $950. We sold it for $985. I have one in El Cajon.
$985?
We were $950 and it's $985. So it sold, it originally went 50,000 over, but there were a lot of repairs, so we reduced the price. I had one in El Cajon that was $650, we sold it for $670. I had one in the college area that was $680 something, and it sold a couple thousand over. I wrote an offer for a buyer a couple weeks ago that was asking $350, it sold for $390, so it's happening. It is happening again, but
Wow.
it's not as bad as it was.
Okay.
So, and for my buyers, I typically show them lower than what they can afford. And if there's no other offers on it, it's a bonus. Like I'm showing her one today, she wrote the offer, I'm showing her one today for $365. And she can go up to $300. She can go up to $300, but she won't. So.
Man, I can't wait until I'm able to close my first deal. Got my license.
You've got 2 buyers right now. You're close.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're still getting approved,
The
but
first one's pre-approved, so
Yeah.
we're just looking for the right condo.
Yeah.
That he's gonna like.
where's he looking? What's his price point?
He got approved for $460.
460?
Yes, $460. And then we checked out some condos yesterday. One was $400. The other one was like $415.
Okay.
He really liked them, 2-bedroom, nice little
Wow.
condo,
Okay.
Santee, El Cajon.
Okay.
He says he's open to anywhere.
Okay, good.
Doesn't really matter.
Good.
And then we went to check out kind of like one of those fixer-upper older homes, and I was like,
A house? As
a
opposed to
house,
condo?
and I was like, it's not a good idea, but we'll go.
Here's
Take a
the
look at it.
thing that you need to be mindful of with homes that are in major disrepair. Check the MLS, because there's a portion on the right-hand column, when you're looking at the agent format, you scroll down, I think it's right around the room measurements.
Okay.
It'll say terms,
Okay.
cash, conventional, FHA, VA, da-da-da.
She's conventional.
Okay, check the terms under the MLS. If it says cash, call the agent and find out why. because some properties will not qualify for financing.
It says cash and conventional.
It does, okay, then you're good, then you're good,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and then he was like, nah, it's too much work.
Yeah, I mean, if it's cosmetic and it's run
Yeah.
down, and, as long as it's not like, holes in the ceiling, and
Yeah.
we've been in some where literally you can just see the wood falling off the house, cause there's so much termite damage, right? Yeah, and some agents don't. There's one agent, he used to work here, I love him to death, he's a good friend of mine, but he puts these properties on the market that are literally, two agents, that are literally falling apart, and they'll go, terms, FHA, I'm like, VA will never allow this house. You can see the cracks down the stucco, and the wood rot, and the eaves and the fascia are just falling off, like they're splintered and like half there.
You're
Like, VA, you need to get a termite clearance. You're gonna have $10,000 just in the front of the house, yeah. So, but yeah, be mindful of that.
So-
He's looking for a fixer to make sure that it can get financed,
Yeah.
because there are some that won't
I
allow
was
it.
just trying to be nice. So
Yeah.
he ended up, he's like, nope, I'm gonna go for it with a condo.
Yeah,
So-
it sounds like, it's a great place to start. Low maintenance, easy to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to know that he's looking all over. I have my two condo buyers. One of my condo buyers is everywhere. He's a 350 guy, 370 guy. He's everywhere. He's like, I don't care. I just want a place. I just need to get out because he's renting all his ground on her little apartment. But the other one, she's very specific. It has to be from Highway 15 and west. So I'm like, all right, we're very specific. She's got a decent budget, but not. So yeah.
I don't know. Right now that you said you sell about between 15 to 20 houses
It depends
per
on.
year.
Yeah, it depends on where
I got my license about almost 7 weeks ago.
Cool.
I'm a little nervous though. Like my goal is to sell a minimum of 14 to 15 homes
Okay.
per year.
So that's about 1.5 a month, and it can be.
How real is it? Is that for a new agent?
It is very real.
Okay.
It is absolutely very real. We have many agents that are brand new in the business or brand new to San Diego that do that. And if you work,
I told you I could do it.
if you do the activities and you do the things that you need to do and have the conversations that you need to have, then you can absolutely do it. I mean, doing 1 to 1.5 a month is very doable. Very doable.
And I'm
Yeah.
specifically targeting a Hispanic community. All buyers that I'm currently working with are all Spanish
Okay,
speakers.
there you go. There you
And
go.
it's just a little bit.
So you've got that. Yeah, you've got that.
Yeah.
Which, I know we have quite a handful. I mean, we're in San Diego, of course, we have a huge Hispanic community, but we do have quite a handful of agents in the office that speak Spanish. But make that your niche. Join the Hispanic group at Keller Williams. There's somebody just posted it. Is it Kevin? I think Kevin King just posted it on our office page. All of the diversity, equity, and inclusion groups. There's a Jewish group. There's a Hispanic group. There's a the Rainbow Network. There's all kinds of groups to join. Yeah, and so if you join it and get to know those agents, just so you can refer business, and people are always supportive Spanish speakers in this office. And pay attention to the messages on Facebook. I'm looking for a Spanish speaking agent. Jump on it. Jump on it for sure. Yeah, for sure. All right, she's got the sign of this. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. All right, good to see you.
So as soon as I get it, like I said, the dad's 80, he just is a little computer illiterate, so I just gotta walk him through it.
No worries.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds good. I'll be on the lookout for the counter. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right, thanks all.